2025, the bills, financial report, as well as the employment. I want to state this, that we're going to remove Ronnie Becerra due to his withdrawal from Myra Hyman, Kimberly Keneally, Chris Stevens, summertime maintenance and custodial help for 24-25, spring coaching volunteer update for 2024 to 25. Why is that saying 24 to 25? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, it is. Okay, 2025-26 fall coaching update. And the resignations of Rachel Fisher, Diane Jackson, Elizabeth, is it Laney, I'm sorry, Chelsea McGearley, Gregory Rouse, Sarah Skoll, and Holly Jo Shea, as well as a retirement for Annette Bodie and Suzanne Nealon. Yeah.
Second.
Motion, got a second from Paul. All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
That motion carries.
And I just want to acknowledge our city retirement, Annette and Susan, who we wish them well in their next endeavors, and we thank them for their years of service in the food service department, providing lots of necessary nutrition for our kiddos.
Awesome. Very much. Thank you. All right, let's start with St. Mary's Middle School student presentation by Principal Carson, if she's here. Is she not here yet?
Wanted to go.
What's that?
And they wanted to go.
They did? All right. Let's come back to them then.
Yeah.
Let's go on with, is it Rich Wells? Regino? Not here as well? Okay. Let's start with McKinstry update.
Elena's here.
Elena's been here for a while. We appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I know you guys have, and I'm going to be pretty realistic about things today. I know Teresa and Danette and even Joe know some of this already, but the government, the Department of Energy has made this a challenge. It was going very, very well.
Yeah.
And we were running full steam ahead, as you guys know, when we presented you with the work we thought we'd do this year versus next year. And then they put a halt on the program. They basically said, stop everything you're doing. We don't know if we're going to continue this program or not. And so for about 6 weeks, we knew nothing. And then I think right around March 1st, they said, yep, you can go again. You know, we're back up and running, submit bills, do your thing, but do not work. Don't charge any labor that might have to be considered under the Davis-Bacon wages to your projects. We still don't have permission to charge labor to our projects, meaning we cannot have boots on the ground doing work. So I do have a quick overview and a set of slides. We can go through some stuff that we think that we're going to still be able to do and commit to this summer if we do get approval to work, right? I mean, that's the hardest part. If we can't have personnel here doing the work, and all we can do is purchase materials and equipment. But we constantly and continually keep trying to find ways to make it happen and not cause delays that push everything into next year. If we were to push everything into next year, we have to start thinking about cost escalations, because everything is up in the air right now with what things are going to cost you, right? We've all heard about the tariffs that are happening. We all know that there's typically pricing escalations as time goes on, especially when it comes to construction. So here's what we think we're going to be able to do. Right now, all of our units have restarted work. In other words, we're continuing design. We finalized design for Haber doors and windows. We've got plan review completed and we have permits in hand. We can actually start that work as soon as we have approval for labor. We've ordered the materials for that particular part of the project, but that's about all we're going to be able to do at Haber this summer. A lot of that has to do with the long lead equipment that we're just not going to be able to get now. Not in time anyway. On top of that, the contractor we had scheduled to do a lot of that electrical and mechanical work has already taken other work because we waited so long. Which we could put it out to bid again, but this is the time of year bids get really expensive. So we're just going to wait. What we can do is order that long lead equipment, right? And then try to coordinate what construction we're going to be able to do the following year. We also had an issue with the Tribe and Taro. We have to submit NEPA report, a National Environmental Protection report. And part of that report has us telling the government whether or not we have any work happening on tribal lands. And if you do, there's a fee associated with that. But the tribe is the only agency that can say yes or no as to whether or not the work you're doing is going to disturb their land and they're going to charge you that fee. And I'll be honest with you, we couldn't get the tribe to answer our questions, our concerns, our phone calls. I even went down there and waited and couldn't find the person that's supposed to get us the answer. So we did a workaround. This goes back to that constantly trying to evolve this thing to get it to work. So we did a workaround where basically we're moving the service outside of that Terrell line so we don't have to deal with it. We're just gonna move that portion of the project since we're still under design anyway and it doesn't change the cost from a design perspective. So we're just moving it out of the way. We don't have to get the answer now because we're not on tribal land for that little piece of electrical work. And that's basically where the pole currently exists is the problem, because it is on tribal land. So we're moving the design. That should solve that problem. But it still puts most of the mechanical and electrical work for Hayburn Elementary into 2026 now. As you guys know, that was a lot of equipment moves, a lot of repiping. We don't have the time, we don't have the labor pool to get that all done on top of having the delay in the material procurement. Right. So we're gonna have to push a lot of that work into 2026. For the middle school, we still believe we can get the majority of the mechanical room work done. What we won't have time to get to is the controls and VAV boxes out in the hallways and classrooms, but we can get the majority of that mechanical room done. And if it needs to be pushed into the fall semester, perhaps we could have the discussion of finishing some of that work even if school's in session, as long as we're not disturbing kids in the class. If you're open to it, we'll be open to it. But right now, if we ordered, well, we're waiting for submittal review. We should be able to order the pellet boilers. They have a 25-week lead time. That's the longest lead item. We have air handling units that we have approval from DOE to order 2 of them for the middle school as well. If we can get those submittals reviewed and that equipment procured, I believe those are a 20-week lead time. But it still means that we can get the current oil-fueled boiler moved, the wood pellet boiler in there when it comes, and at the very least you would start the fall with what you have there now working, and then we would connect the pellet boiler as soon as we can get it in there and ready to be hooked up. Again, all this is contingent on whether or not DOE gets approval for us to actually have boots on the ground charging labor to this job.
Right.
All of that is what this hinges on, but we keep trying. So right now we've got 2 contracts out to Source and Northwest Windows and Doors for procurement only. They're only allowed to order the materials they need to do the work that they're going to do in these 2 schools. And then we have our own mechanical teams that are procuring the air handling units, pumps, VAV boxes, various equipment to get the middle school mechanical room work done. I'm saying all that, and if you turn to the next slide, we do have some contingency plans if we end up having a problem with some of the labor approval. So right now with Hayburn, we decided, okay, we're gonna move full steam ahead as though we're going to get those windows and doors in this summer. If for some reason we didn't get that labor approval, boy, that's a hard one to say fast. If we didn't get the labor approval until later in the summer, we can get as many windows and for sure the doors replaced now, and then we'll store the remaining windows, and every break we have, every time we can get in there and keep working, we will, until that job is done. With the middle school, really the only contingency we can move forward with there is negotiating and collaborating with you, the school, and the school board to do some work during the school year. Again, the biggest challenge there is going to be making sure that we don't disturb classrooms and students. So we would have to make sure that if it's going to be loud work, we're there early or on the weekend. But that would be the compromise there, to try to continue to get this work done this year. We did ask the Department of Energy what it looks like if we have to have a contract extension into 2027, which we were already gonna do some of our closeout work in 2027, but we might actually have some construction work in 2027. They make it sound like it's easy, but I don't know. None of this has been easy. I don't wanna have a sense of humor about this, but I'm like, are you kidding me? So I would say we'll do it. We would get the extension, but I will see how easy it really is. So, I've never experienced anything quite like this, and I'm used to some pretty complicated contracts, but I've never had the stop and go that we've had here, and then the okay, you can go, but only a little bit, and then only a little bit, and it's interesting to navigate. It's really hard to get contractors to wanna stay on board on the project.
Sure.
They keep trying to bail on us, and I keep trying to give them incentives. Luckily, the Source, Michael Montgomery from Sources, doesn't live too far from me, so I literally threatened him. I'm like, don't you dare leave me hanging, I need this work done. And so I, probably owe him a favor, but we don't wanna let you down, is the biggest thing I wanna talk to you about today, is that we're doing everything we can to not let you down. We know you need this, we know the students deserve this, and the faculty deserve this, and the staff deserve this.
And Elena, I'll just say, I'll speak for all of us, and
Okay.
then they can speak too, just that we do appreciate all McKinstry has done.
Yeah.
And, a lot of this was out of our control. So, while there might be a delay, we're thrilled that these projects are still gonna get done.
Okay, we very much worry that you might think that we're not trying to
No.
navigate this. I don't even know how
I
else
know
to
you are.
navigate it.
We do
We
recognize.
talk with you every week, we know.
Yes, you do, you do.
We do recognize
Um,
it wasn't your fault.
Okay. And
Joey's-
even the tariff situation
Down to
now
the
is
payment.
scary for us all, like
Yeah.
ordering equipment, what are we gonna do if prices change? We'll have to just keep communicating.
Mhm.
That's all we can do, is just be open and honest and transparent with you guys. But again, if you have any questions, we are happy to answer them. You're gonna see some other faces on this team besides mine, I swear. We've got a really good, construction manager, Clayton, who you've visited with a couple times. He'll be on site a lot this summer. We're actually hiring a local guy out of Deary to come and help with site supervision. You guys know Gary. Gary helped out with some stuff, but we've already had to farm him out because some of this work should have started. So we will have you covered. You'll see some new faces. We will get some work delivered to you this summer. I hope.
Yeah.
Sound good?
And we touch base every week
Yeah.
with
We do.
updates.
We do. So again, if you have questions, feel free to let Teresa and Danette know, or you can email me if they're okay with it directly. I don't mind. This is something we all have to try to navigate, and when it's all said and done, it might be a really fun story to tell. We'll see.
I did have a
Any
question.
questions now? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And this is, I'm sure something maybe Joe can answer, but since you're both in the same room, it's easier. We had some issues and I don't know, you guys are obviously in charge of the scheduling and figuring out how this works out, but we had some issues with Upriver this winter that were creating a stir for heating
Yeah,
and
that's
so on
what
and
we
so
did.
forth. I don't know if there's a way, if we have to shuffle projects, if that would become a priority, that we can maybe move around. I don't know if that was something you figured out or not. I haven't inquired too much about it. So I just want to be a squeaky wheel, and I know you're busy.
success dealing with some of that later on in the situation, but, I'll be doing some upgrades on the air system up there, so
Okay.
we're having some problems with the air, water in the line and that kind
Okay.
of thing. I don't know as if there's any way we could expedite anything there. It depends on lead time on equipment.
Right,
Whatever.
and
Yeah.
the biggest issue at Upriver is it needs an electrical upgrade in
Yeah.
order to install all those, heat pumps.
Right,
And the electrical equipment is 77 weeks out,
right.
and that puts us
Okay.
into
That
next
puts
year.
us in next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just being the squeaky wheel, and I didn't want to speak up
Right.
River. I know they struggled last winter. We do have a
Yeah.
winter between now and 2026. So it says in your work, it says all remaining work planned in the summer of 2026, but this could change, and McKinstry's open for discussion of working during the
Yeah.
school year if we have to.
And we are.
Because we don't know what next winter's gonna bring us, and I know they're very important to us, so.
And once we actually procure, lead times change. Many of
Okay.
you who work in this field, you know that.
Mhm.
Once you actually buy the stuff, you're like, oh, it's not 77 weeks, it's 52, or,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So once we actually order it, then we can update you with the real-time lead
Perfect.
times and tell you when we'll have the equipment on hand. And if you guys want us to start some things earlier, we are up for that negotiation meeting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Very
Any
much.
other questions? All right. Thank you all. I appreciate you letting me go first.
Thanks, Elena.
Elena.
Thanks, Lee.
Yes.
Here's my number. Call me if you got problems.
I will. Oh.
What?
Well, just, I know some people, so
Okay.
anyway, just,
I did, and we
just,
just couldn't get the answer.
well, I
Yeah.
know,
The one time I actually talked to him, I caught him eating lunch, and he didn't look up from his lunch, but at least he answered a couple questions.
Well, anyway, yeah, just, I guess we got some issues.
I'm gonna bring it back. Thank you very much, Lenny, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm gonna try to give it a second shot.
Hi, we're here. Thank you.
Chris McCarthy, if you don't mind, thank you.
All right. Unfortunately, we had invited a handful of kiddos to come with us from Earth, and they are not available tonight, so for whatever reason. But we do have our instructors, Madison Stoughton and Lauren King. Yeah, so welcome. Thank you guys for having us. We promised that we'd be back. Do you remember?
Yes.
Yeah, and I invited you all, if you ever want to come, 6th, 7th, and 8th period, so from 12 to 2:45, if you ever want to come and see the work that these girls are doing. And they have a couple of helpers as well, but we'd love to host you. So what Lauren just passed out, I think, is a collage of all the work that the kids have been doing. I'm going to turn it over to them in just a moment, but they also have some student work that they're going to showcase. So I apologize for the lack of students, but between baseball and all the things going on downtown,
And, I'm sorry, just a friendly reminder to speak near the microphone so the people at home can hear all the great things you're
Try
saying.
not
No banging.
Yeah.
no banging on the.
No bang,
Okay,
shuffling
Don't
papers.
bang on the.
Yeah, yeah.
No crumpling the paper.
Okay, yeah, so what we just handed out was kind of just a picture collage. It talks about, under each of those pictures, what it is that the kids are doing, just because we couldn't bring everything with us, like the goats, for example.
You would've been a hit if we had.
Oh, I'm
we
sure,
had
yes,
lots
that
of
day,
goat.
yeah, they had a good time with that. And then we did some coding today, with our Sphere robots. They just started technology last week.
Yes.
Yes, and so we have one more section,
This week and next week.
this week, next week, and then horticulture.
Yep, and then
right?
horticulture.
And I was fortunate enough to walk by when they were outside on the
Yes.
blacktop, practicing their programming and coding and see what would happen with the little device. It
Yeah.
was fun. They were having fun,
They were having a good time, yeah, so,
learning lots of important skills.
yes.
Yeah, they seem to be enjoying everything that we're doing. There's lots of hands-on stuff. So we wish they could be here to talk about some of their projects, but we brought them and can talk about them for them. So,
these two were from, engineering, and so they made cardboard box arcade games. And, they learned all about catapults and just engineering in general. And then at the end of this was their project to wrap up the section. And so,
How's it work?
huh?
How's it work?
It goes on the spoon and they have to launch it.
That's awesome.
Better at it than I am.
It's a middle school game.
Yes, yes.
you know, holding it
Engineering.
isn't as good as like
Yes.
having it on the
Yes.
table, doing it, yeah.
And then once they got all their, we had all kinds. I think there's a picture on there of them working on getting some pool tables. We had skee ball. We had, oh gosh, there was all kinds of stuff. They get really super. Basically, we just gave them all supplies and just let them brainstorm and just basically free work with it and come up with whatever they wanted to do. So that was really cool. And then also with engineering, we did a bridges section. And they got to make suspension bridges.
Oh, cool.
These were cool.
Mm.
They did it in groups of 2 and learned about basically how this all works.
One group could like stand on their bridge.
Yes. Yeah, at the end, we
Really?
tested to see how much weight they could hold, and one of the kids was able to stand on it. and-
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There's some engineering actually involved.
Yeah, there is. A lot of engineering.
That's cool.
And then for the culmination of the range/forestry, we talked a lot about disturbance and,
Restoration practices, so they took a disturbed site, this one was a fire, a forest fire came through, and then this is what they did, they replanted it, and they were able to restore it to its natural state after a forest fire, and so they all got really creative. Some of them had bees catching things on fire and causing a forest fire. Some people
They were
actually-
very creative.
they're very creative. But yeah,
That is
they
a
really
photo.
like being able to create and build things. And so, these projects, they were able to present to a couple outside people too, which was really nice. When we have local people around that work with us, we're like, hey, you should come listen to their project. And they enjoy, I think, being able to present to people other than Maddie and myself.
Yeah, and we've had some really awesome guest speakers come through. We've had some of our extension colleagues come, I think on the bottom. This picture we actually entered, we thought was pretty fun. Down at the pork science one, those are foam carcasses that the kids got to put together to build a whole pork carcass. And our boss just happened to be there that day, and he was like, let's take a fun picture. So we told them all to pretend like they were biting out of it. But it's been really good. I think it's been going really well. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all really excited for the current unit of technology because they get to play with Legos and robots and everything else. We're gonna finish it out with horticulture. They're gonna start some plant starts and everything, and kind of do presentations on community gardens and stuff like that.
And then our final 3 weeks will be kind of that career development side. They'll do resumes, we'll bring in some industry professionals, and the kids will get to talk with them and pick a career and do a resume on it. And
Mock
all that sort of
interviews.
stuff.
Cool.
Can I just say a
Thank
couple
you.
things? First of all, so I just want to say thank you to the girls. We had an AAR meeting today about the sustainability of the program. Sorry about that, Teresa. And what
Thank
will
you.
happen next year. So we're looking at continuing on the program and offering it to more students than just our little experimental group. So we're excited about that. Remind me of John's title.
Communications director, manager?
So I had a phone call with
Communications person.
with one of their higher ups today, just interviewing us on the aspect of how up and coming this is. Students, our students are very lucky to be able to be in this program and be able to be influenced by you and be taught by you. He said it's very rare that a school would host it, so I appreciate your guys' open-mindedness too. Truly, our students benefited from this program. So
Yeah.
next year, more to come. They love it. We have such good reviews from our kids and from our parents. You can see the engineering. I mean, watch out, Gino. Just quite the brains that are being developed. So I appreciate your open-mindedness on this. So thank you.
And Elena,
And I
you got some up and coming.
Yeah.
I know, well, hi.
I was just gonna say we got some you can
You got
hire.
Luke.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess with the uniqueness of it too, last week Maddie and I were down in Boise at our annual conference for University of Idaho, and we presented a poster on what we've been doing in this program, and we got a lot of really positive feedback. Basically, the highest up people in extension were there, and they were all really happy to see it, and everyone was like, how are you guys in the schools? And we're like, well, we asked, and now we're doing it.
Yeah.
So, we're kind of building
Leading
that
the way.
pathway for other
Yeah.
people. So,
Yeah. So thank you for being willing to
Yes, thank
let
you.
us try this.
What is your favorite part of teaching this? Like, what's your favorite part of the whole program?
I like teaching things that I really care about and am interested in.
Okay.
Because we're taking things that we kind of specialized on while we were in school, the things that we went to school for that we really like, and we're able to share it with kids. If I had this opportunity, well, in middle school, I don't think I would have been interested in it, just because of where I came from. But I'm really happy to be able to share my knowledge and my love of these things with the students. There's been days I'm like, hey guys, I know you guys like everything, but this is something, like my specialty is like nursery management. So when we were talking about forest nursery, I'm like, hey, this is the stuff I really care about. And they're like, okay, let's pay extra attention. Because Mrs. King really likes this, so this must be really cool.
Yeah, I think same here with the agriculture section, because that is what my degree is in. And that has been so much fun, because I just haven't, sometimes when we're in extension, you kind of miss getting to interact with students all the time, and that has been so awesome to be able to have that opportunity and teach kids that we really, I mean, there's only like 2 4-H kids, I think, within the 3 periods, and so getting to teach them all that kind of stuff and kind of open their eyes to all the different things there are has been so awesome.
And our district doesn't really have a gifted and talented program right now, and so this is one way we can extend our learners. We put a lot of our brightest. There's more that didn't get a chance to be in, but what an opportunity for our kids to expand their understanding and look at these different industries.
So what do you feel like is different in this program that makes it so unique, I guess, that's so different from the normal classroom? What's most, and what stands out that's really unique about this that you see influences
I think
kids?
with all the hands-on stuff and group work, based on feedback we're getting from the students,
Okay.
it's a lot different than their other classes.
Fair.
It's topics that they're not normally given.
Okay.
I don't think in normal science class, they're learning about nursery management, or having goats come in, or, playing with robots. And
Right.
so it's a lot different material than they're used to having.
So you think it's because it's just kinesthetic learning, or do you think it's because it's actual hands-on
I
involvement?
think it's the hands-on.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they really, have just absorbed it more. I think we learned even with like your the lecture, you started a lecture.
Yeah.
And they're like, we'd rather just do a project, and so
Huh.
we had them do a poster about the lecture. And then I came in a couple days later and I hadn't been at that lecture, and they were just like spewing information at me.
Sure.
Like, knew everything that there was about it, and I think that's awesome, cause sometimes you just lecture and they don't retain anything, so that.
So I got to visit your guys' classroom. I don't think anyone of you two, I think it was somebody else that was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But it
Mary
was
Jo.
awesome. Just to see the involvement in the kids, and I can say more than anything else, I'd appreciate watching kids get involved and do, there's something to say about that. When they're doing and they're learning. A lot of kids especially, in previous years and years ago have been past, they've lost their avenue, or they didn't find that they had a hold as they went through education, because there wasn't a lot of that then. And so that being more and more, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, my son being one of them, and I see it and I love it, and I'm so happy that we have it. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So-
I'm gonna pitch to Mr. Asbury, he's next month, but maybe we can grab some of those kids and do a 2 or 3 minute quick
Sure.
presentation next month when they're more available.
Yeah.
Jody?
So do we have to be scared of Lauren taking all the middle school kids Thursday and going down there with Christie and planting trees?
They're still gonna be with you on Thursday,
all right,
Jody, but
okay,
it is a
just-
competition.
Just checking, just checking.
Be
So,
ready.
so with that said, when you get them back, can you get a honest feedback about it and give it to us?
Yeah.
please?
Yeah, cause we have that, they took that pre-assessment, they took a pre-test.
He's
essentially.
talking about the thing in the woods.
Oh, I was
Sorry, I didn't want to.
No, you're good.
Both, we want both.
Both, I was gonna say both.
Both,
We'll get some
yeah,
feedback.
both, so, yeah, that'd be
We'll get
good.
some feedback.
Both hands.
So, anyway, so, yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys
We'll be
so very
back.
much for
Thank you.
coming. Thank you for sharing very much. Thank you. All right. Let's move on, try it again. Rick Wells? Geno? Yeah. Geno, which one is it? I've heard Geno and Gino. Which one's the correct term?
Gino.
Geno, I thought it was Geno. Okay. It is Geno. Okay.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Okay.
Okay, so project, I'm going to start out with a little, I guess, project status review. So, as many of you know, you probably all do know that we're shut down. And the shutdown started on February 26th, mainly due to load limits and moisture coming through the bank cut. We thought that the winter would help us this year, maybe freeze it out a little bit, but it didn't. It was pretty warm and we needed a few more weeks to continue. Till the load limits are lifted at the site, we can't restart the work, which I think you guys probably are aware more than us, that it's forecasted around the 1st of May, which I think is pretty common around this time of year, week earlier, a week later, et cetera. So once the load limits are off, then we can resume work on that. But we also have some remediation plans, I guess. Corey, is that correct? If you want to talk a little about that.
Due to the moisture in the soils, if it stayed cold and frozen, we could have got the foundations in. But now that the ground is wet, we're gonna have to take a little bit of extra dirt out. And, we're taking the drain tile that we had in it, we're actually moving it down to the bottom of the gravel fill so that it can pick up the water better and get it out. And most of the material is already on site. He had some extra material. There's gonna be a little bit of extra dirt work, I think, and maybe a little bit of extra rock that has to be brought in. So there's some cost with that. We don't know yet. We've given them a drawing that they're pricing up that information right now. But it'll help drain the water underneath the site a little better for the future.
That's an additional change order to the
Yeah, it'll be additional
excavation?
to that, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot more water there than we had thought, so this actually is not just a temporary fix, it's a permanent fix, so there won't be any future issues. And then any questions on that?
Yeah, did you guys not have that in the contingency beforehand? That maybe you
We
might
had
have
the
to
drain
cross
tile
out?
and everything in there, and we had it planned for the drainage.
Okay.
What's happened is because it's got soft, we have to actually take some more additional soil out
Okay.
and put back rock. So that takes where our drainage plane was here, now it's dropped it down another foot and a half. So that's why we're moving the drain tile down to that level.
Okay.
If it stayed cold and frozen, we wouldn't have had to take that extra soil out, we would have had everything the way it was.
Okay.
So it
So-
sounds like
so-
in the long run, this is probably better anyways.
It is,
Yeah.
yes. There's more water there than originally anticipated, coming through that cut in that hill, so. And I don't think it's just due to winter conditions, correct?
No, there was a drain there's already a drain in that hillside. We intercepted that and we were rerouting it around. So we were aware that there was water there. The main thing is that we have to go a little deeper now than we originally planned.
So I guess kind of what happens from here. So Corey's worked up a revision on the new drainage plan. We'll put some pricing together for that, and we'll discuss that obviously before we start. But then upon the approval of the mitigation plan and the lifting of load limits, that's really kind of where what gets us back in working order. So the proposed addition timeline should take 2 to 2.5 weeks of time to put in the soil mitigation, which then we could start footings and foundation, and from there the original schedule continues forward. And with the delays on that, which is roughly 69 days, that if we start on May 5th, that puts completion about December 4th. And that can move one way or the other depending on how things go. The more we work in the construction, the better we can dial that schedule in, but that's our basically the original schedule, just with a restart date of May 5th. And as far as the breakdown of costs and all that, we don't really have that yet. It's, I hesitate to guess at that due to dirt. So we should have something. You gave that to us when, Corey?
About a week ago.
About a week
Yeah,
ago.
the
So
one.
so we should have something either probably the beginning of next week that we could report back to you with that. So that's kind of the project status review of where we sit. A little bit on the shutdown on the timing. Corey put together an agenda because he figured I'd just go up here and waller a little bit. Load
You
limits
did all
timing.
that stuff.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gina, can I ask a quick question?
Of course.
You answered, and I have forgotten. We did All West did that soil sample for us, or that geo report. So that amount of extra water wasn't detected? And I'm not blaming, just.
Yeah, not at the time
when
they
that-
dug the
okay.
test pits. They
Okay.
actually didn't even hit any water with
So we didn't go deep enough, or?
it. It's not that it's deep enough, it's weeping out of the hillside
uh,
in the spring.
Oh. So we took.
It's
the
not like
test,
it's like
yeah.
one spot where you can see it,
Yeah.
it's spread across the entire side.
Happens to me quite often.
Yeah, because we tested it at a different time of season.
Yeah, it was in the late fall when it was
Mhm.
typically drier.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And as far as comparing sites still, where we had talked about doing it in the lower area
Oh,
there.
yeah, we're way
This
better
is still
shape.
way ahead
Oh, yeah.
from what we would have from
Oh, yeah.
down below.
Yeah, building in a floodplain is
Oh, yeah,
not
no.
good.
Yeah.
So a couple of, you do have a change order that we've submitted to you, that has a credit on it, but it also has some charge for having to, we were hoping we could cut more of a vertical cut, but because of the water, they had to lay the site back more, take more earth out. I think it's about a $12,000 pad.
The deduction was 10,500 because we were able to get potlatch to donate the
donate.
timber.
Right.
And then the add-on so far is 26,300.
So did you guys slump it, or did you guys build a retaining wall? I don't understand what's going on. So
No,
you guys-
we
you changed
we actually looked at putting, ecology block in there,
Mhm.
and Rich's guys did a bunch, it would've cost a lot more money to do that than it would be to, and the problem is the ecology block, they're available down here. The material that or the concrete they're using
It echoes.
doesn't meet, specs to
See how they all do
use
it?
for retaining wall, is
Right.
what we were told.
Right.
So we would have to get blocks out of Spokane. We looked at,
The
shipping them back.
the
and
trucking
getting
would have
credit.
been too expensive.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
So
it was
just
easier
kind of
to-
in pictures, instead of a cut like this, we had to
Right.
cut it back like this.
yeah.
Change it more to like a natural
Deeper.
slump.
Exactly, and,
Right.
and even with this fix that we had, we still would have had to lay it back the same, so it's not like we wasted a cut, we're just picking away at it, I guess, if that makes sense. So, because as we go deeper, the bank has to come back further.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
And we got guys building an 8-foot or 10-foot tall retaining wall back there.
Mhm.
We can't have the dirt fall on. If it was in the fall, it would
Right.
have been fine.
Mhm.
We been drier.
Okay.
So, yeah. So one other thing we want to throw out there, just as a cost savings idea, if we need to save some more money, we have that covered storage area that we added. I think it was around $40,000, 30, maybe 35.
The lean-to.
The lean-to, yeah, we could always take that off to help offset some of these costs, because that's something that can easily be added later on down the road too.
Yeah,
Well, I
it's,
think the
ba-
wood
it's
shop is
basically a
looking at it.
bolt-on.
Yeah.
Forestry side.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were, and Rubrik's wood shop crew.
And there's another change order item that we're getting pricing on too. We added some security lights. There was a light pole on the walkway coming down. Well, Vista is taking that away.
Okay.
So we added a light on the building to help light up the sidewalk and the steps, and a couple security lights. So it shouldn't be a whole lot of money for those. But I think that's a good
Yeah.
add.
We added that, I think you might hear that from Joe Gilmore when we talk about some of the maintenance projects.
Okay.
We had just taken that out of some of our plant facilities fund, rather than away from the awarded money.
Okay.
And then one other thing that's not on the agenda is the entryway project. It's in for a permit to the state. Rich has the drawings. They're working on
Yeah, we're requesting
pricing,
bids.
getting pricing back on that.
Okay.
Probably another couple of weeks and we'll have that
Mhm.
pricing back and we'll get it down to Teresa to look at. That's the security entrance at the high school.
The security, yeah, and Joe and I will talk about that tonight. That's one of our safety upgrades.
But it is in for,
Better
it is in
security.
for permit right now too, to the state.
And the revised walkway, I think, seems to be working well, moving
Mhm.
the kids over that way.
They still go down the rock
I know
slide,
the
they still go
kids-
down the rock slide, but the stairs are there for people like myself.
Yeah.
But,
It works well for the people that use it.
Yeah, that used to, yeah.
any overall general questions on the project or the process, I guess?
You'll give us an update on I guess there's another change order of an updated one, so we'll just bring that all together in May.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, we have.
I apologize for being late. It's baseball season and 3 different teams and 3 different boys. But thank you. I'm here now. I apologize for that. I'm going to be really short and curt because I have my friend Sam Jones here, and he's from our ASB.
We
so
met
later,
Sam Jones earlier.
good. And he got to read his speech?
Not yet.
Oh, good. I was
We
like,
just-
did I
we
miss
talked-
it?
We all
Okay.
talked and.
Oh, good. So I'm going
Got
to
to know
bring him
each
up
other.
here next to me so he can present with me.
And
And
Mom.
later
And-
on in my
Yes,
Yeah.
and Mom was here too.
and later
Yeah, you
on
can
in
come
my
back here.
speech, I'm gonna or in my presentation, I'm gonna give it away to you.
And
Okay?
we have it on YouTube, we'll be able to send it to you.
So, in regards to goal number 1 at the middle school, we are still plugging away, and I hope this doesn't sound redundant, but we are serious about our PLC goals. So you're going to see that grading team report come up month after month. You're going to see our RTI report come up month after month, because we're really trying to just hone in and do that with the utmost quality. Hi, Josh. Sorry, I didn't greet you. So for goal 1, in regards to academic achievement, you're going to see those are our 2 task force areas, and we're pouring a lot of time and energy into that. So any questions, if you ever want to come in on a Monday and see the work that those 2 teams are doing, please do so. It's really important to us. It's messy work, and it's hard work, but we're committed to it. So if you ever want to know more details, come see me.
Principal Carson, will
Yeah.
you tell us what RTI stands for?
Sure, response to intervention, which is kind of an outdated term. Now it's called MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support. So that means after a teacher has delivered their instruction, for those kiddos that need to hear it a second time, we're trying to figure out how to make time in our day for that. And those kiddos that need to hear it a third time in a much more intensive way, how do we build that into our schedule? Okay, so we have really good bones for that, and we're figuring out how to do that, but with a very small staff. We're just trying to brainstorm and mine out those issues. So a lot of time goes into that. How do we help kids get up to the expectation? What can we do? Not move the expectation, but what can we do to get them there? Okay, so that's what our RTI team is all about. Thank you, Dr. Wrench. We're also in our academic achievement in the regards to goal number 1. We're talking about our master calendar. Ms. Huddleston is our guru on that. We're trying to figure out what electives to offer. And again, how can we build that RTI time into our master schedule. We're also spending a lot of time in ISAT prep. That begins next month, and that's very, as you know, very serious deal at the middle school level. So again, in regards to goal number 1, that's an overview. If you ever want to know more, please give me a call. In regards to goal number 2, college and career readiness, you heard earlier about Earth, and you know that next year we're planning on, we're going to reap the benefits of that sustainment, and they're going to come back for at least 3 more periods. We're hoping for more, and there's a little bit of collaboration there. There's a little bit of, Nikki and I are going for more, so we'll see what we can get from them, but so far we'll have another 3 sections of Earth. Again, we are looking at electives, how to offer more than just home ec and study skills and band. We have some options for forestry. We're going to try to figure that out as well, so we think that our kids, could benefit from that, and we've got a lot of qualified teachers. In regards to goal number 3, providing a safe, healthy, and inviting place, IDEFI has kicked off in the last couple months. I don't know if you saw that in my last report, but Nikki's also she does it all. She's also heading that off, and they get to go to Skate Plaza this month. Just a really great opportunity for our kids to make good, healthy decisions. We don't have a Boys and Girls Club.
What's IDEFI?
IDEFI, Idaho Drug-Free Youth.
Thank you.
And they make a pledge to be drug-free, and there's lots of education, but there's also just a lot of fun. Instead of making bad decisions, come hang out back at school. We're going to go to Skate Plaza. She's got
Put
a
your
lot
right
of...
foot in, put your right foot out.
Yeah.
We can do that if we go to Skate Plaza, right?
know.
Okay.
Yeah. So take a look. Our drills are still routine. We're really cutting time off our fire drills, and our lockdown drills actually are increasing. We're trying to build that endurance. Can we stay quiet and safe for 10 minutes? So we were up to 7 minutes this last time, and we're going to continue to grow that. Student of the Month continues. The Kiwanis continue to support us, so we go to the firehouse once a month. This month was for, the trait was fairness. What an honest trait for our middle school. That's hard to do when you're 12 and 14. Go above and beyond to be fair. So these kiddos were recognized. You'll see that there was a tie in 6th. And we'll take our 7th and 8th graders. Our track team also started this month. We've already had 1 track meet. We hired Vince Wilcox, and everything's going well there so far. So I encourage you to try to make it out to one of those meets. And then I also brought Sam Jones to talk about ASB and what he's been doing. So I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell you a little bit more about that.
Well, it's nice to see some familiar faces. Good evening, first. I'm a proud communications officer here at the middle school ASB. I'm excited to be here tonight to talk about it and to share how incredible this year has been for the assembled student body, which it's been pretty busy. This year, the ASB has worked hard to bring energy, spirit, and stronger sense of community to our school. We've hosted speakers and assemblies, which the upcoming Tom Mueller, one of the past CEOs of SpaceX, which that's pretty cool, speaker, and that have inspired and educated our peers. We've taken charge of 3 bulletin boards across the campus to teach students, or to keep students informed and involved. For example, we have a ASB, like specifically an ASB bulletin board, which informs students on events and things that ASB is trying to work on, so they are informed and are educated about it. One of our most exciting successes has been our fundraisers, like Shoot for the Lou, a lunchtime activities where students get to shoot basketballs to win prizes. It's fun, it's loud, and it raises money for more awesome events. Around the holidays, we spread cheer with candygrams at Christmas and Valentine's Day flower sales, which, to sum it up, is basically we give them flowers and they buy it, and then we hand them out to the peers that they want it to be delivered to. Letting students send a little joy to their friends. We've put on 3 successful dances this year. The first one was like neon, second one I can't think of, and then the third one was like a decades, where it was different decades to dance of. The next one, which is coming up on May 22nd, is a night at the Oscars, which is going to be like my favorite. Each one has been a blast and totally student-led. And if any of you guys are interested in like helping with the dances, maybe set up or just watch the students, we would gladly take any help. But our impact goes beyond just events and fun. We've recognized our amazing student athletes by decorating their lockers before games, and we've reached out to athletes with random acts of kindness because we believe everyone deserves to feel seen and celebrated. For example, when there's a new student that's came to the school and, maybe not know too much about it, one of our, all of our ASB members will go up to them, and maybe if they're in 7th grade, I will tell them, oh, Wisenen's class is over here, Roger's class is here. He teaches English and reading. Things like that. That's what we do for the new students at the school. We've also made efforts to listen and grow by sending out surveys and using student feedback to shape what we do. We've connected with our community by seeking donations and sharing the holiday spirit through caroling and handmade Christmas cards at Valley Vista. So I don't know what exact time it was, but we took a bus up to Valley Vista and we caroled and we gave them out Christmas cards and surprised them. And for me, that was an amazing experience to share spirit and just kindness with the elderly. Right now, we're working on beautification projects around the school, finding creative ways to give back and make our campus shine. And I wanted to take a moment to say this. Having ASB as an actual class period has made all the difference in the world. We have the time to plan, reflect, and organize and learn together, not just meet over lunch or early in the morning. With every new idea has come a learning curve, but we've reflected every step of the way. Last year was, me coming into 6th grade. I just didn't know what to expect at the middle school. And ASB, it sounded fun, and they did stuff, but at the rate they were kind of going, I wasn't really pleased with all the stuff they had done. I just didn't feel a strong sense of community and spirit like I do now. With it being a class, probably 2 times what they've probably done last year. We've up to 4 dances now. We've caroled, we've done fundraisers, we've set out candygrams, and I can't even think of it all off the top of my head, but I mean, I'm just, like, me being an ASB, at first I wasn't sure what to expect or what my job was going to be, but this year I'm definitely doing it next year, and I'm very pleased with the way students are respected and acknowledged and what their feelings are to be put to idea and like what they see what they want. We're proud of how far we've come this year, and we're excited even more excited about the ideas we have for the future. From new fundraisers to more student involvement and community connections, we're just getting started. Thank you for supporting ASB. With your continued support, we know next year will be even better. Thank you.
You make me proud, Sam Jones. Way to go. All right, I'm just going to wrap this up. I can't follow that up, but goal 4, communications with parents in the community. We're still obviously inviting them in for our Student of the Month luncheon. We love to see our parents and help them. They help us celebrate our kids. Please continue to check out our Facebook page and look for announcements there. And then finally, I just wanted to brag a little bit about Nikki and I, our work with vape prevention. We called in, her name's Alicia Keller. She works with Panhandle Health, and she's going to come in and actually teach to our violators. And so they also have an RTI, a multi-tier system of support, where each violator would get some education on not only prevention but cessation. If they were to violate again, which we do have second violators, they hit another level of that education. And then there's a top tier, 3rd millennium, which these terms are going to sound a little elusive, but what you need to know is we're taking it really serious. We're trying to figure out what community partnerships we can collaborate with to take this as serious as we need to. We want to keep our kids safe. So we've been pouring a lot of time into that, and we plan to continue with that. So again, if you have any questions on what we're doing, please give us a call. I'd love to show off all the magic that the teachers and Nikki are making. Yeah. Any questions, guys?
Ethan.
I want to say something to that young
Sure,
man.
come on up.
So what, can you state again your name loud and articulate what exactly you do for ASB?
My name's Sam Jones, and in ASB, I am a communications officer, so students that are needing to be informed on what exactly ASB is doing or that are just interested, I'm the guy to talk to.
All right.
And
So we'll come to you.
yes, and monthly, I write an essay, and every Monday, or not, like a Monday of each month, I go out to each class and speak in front of them to inform them what we're doing as a school, or what we're doing as ASB, and events that will happen, etc., like dances and just fundraisers also.
Well, young man, you were very well spoken. We picked a very good person for our communications director.
Yes.
I really enjoyed your presentation.
Very good.
You're very articulate, and you know what to speak what's on your mind. So you keep going with that, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I had the privilege of sitting in on one of the ASB classes, and it's led by Mrs. Rubrick. And they asked me for any input, and I said, I can't even think of anything else to add. They're doing so much, and they have such a great vision. I mean, to hear our students say every student will be seen and celebrated, and all the work they're doing to make sure everybody's involved, and to bring in the community, and to be respected. I mean, that's goal 3 to a T.
Well, that
So-
shows by his example.
Yeah,
what you showed today,
you
so
just showed so much care today. Thank you,
yeah,
Sam.
Appreciate you very much, sir.
One also thing that I've learned is ASB, it's not just to set up things for the school, but it's also more of like a leadership class too. We've learned to talk with people and to learn like, not just be like, nonchalant and this. We've learned to actually put emotion into the stuff we do. And for example, like we learned how to ask for donations from people. So instead of just being like, we need money, we've learned to put some care into it and like actually feel the emotion. And not to toot my own horn, but by myself, I've gotten $250 in donations in 3 phone calls. And so,
Is that what you learned the most? Is definitely that you care about what you're doing?
yes, and
Okay.
You're showing leadership today.
Yeah, you are.
personally,
So,
I've put it at heart to worry about what other students want and what they would like to see more or less than what we want to see. And we do put, our needs and what we need at mind, but I like to see, smiles on students' faces and to know that I did that or we did that.
Right.
For you.
Leaders like you set a good example to those around you, and so it definitely shows good promise for St. Mary's Middle School.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sam, what'd you buy with
Appreciate
your
it.
$250 you raised?
What?
What'd you buy with your $250 you raised?
Well, with the $250, Josh's wife Jessica, we got her to do the photo booth, and so that was with that. Those donations came from the bistro, and then the $50 came from the St. Mary's Chamber of Commerce. The chamber bucks they give out, we got $50 from them for the shoot for the loot during lunch. We got that as prizes for students to win. All for
great.
yeah. So yeah.
Thank you for your time, Sam. I really
Thanks for
appreciate
coming
it very much. Ms. Carson, it's great to have him. Appreciate it very
They
much.
wanted a picture.
Hold on, oh, time out. We're gonna have a picture.
Photo?
If we can.
You come back here.
Ms. Carson, you sit in here.
Yeah.
Come on in, Ms. Carson.
Ms. Carson, if you don't mind.
Hey, James, I'm here.
I stand by Sam. Can I stand by you?
Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Very nice.
Thank you. What a good kid.
Thank
Need
you,
more
guys.
need more
Thank you.
kids like you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again for just listening
Thank
to
you,
my
sir,
speech.
very much.
And that's a wrap.
Thank you again for.
But you got some
Thank you.
big shoes to fill after that presentation, buddy.
And that's a wrap.
Yeah.
About a letdown for you guys.
Wow, that's pretty cool to see things going on like that at the middle school.
Right.
Absolutely.
Lots happening up there all the time, so
Yeah.
lots of activities. Mrs.
Rubrick.
Rubrick has contacted me about some projects that maybe the ASB can take on up there for little
Wow.
beautification things and stuff like that, so, nice to see.
Yeah.
They're good leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Awesome.
you want a hard copy of some of the projects Joe's gonna talk about tonight?
Was he gonna be up here?
No,
Okay, yes, please. You don't mind.
not yet. It will be at the board workshop.
Okay.
I'll start off with my monthly stuff here. We've got the regular fix-it things going on. Over the break, we replaced some countertops at Upriver. They were wearing, and there was some concern about health inspections and stuff like that, so we put new laminate on that. Ice machine for the high school concession building, got that installed and put in place. Of course, heating systems are still up and running. We'll see how long that carries on. Lawn care has begun, and winter cleanup is, you know, all the snow piles have a lot of trash and things like that, but I don't know that it's been as bad this year as I've seen in the past. Meetings with McKinstry personnel as far as the HVAC upgrades and that kind of thing. A little disappointed about what we are getting, but super excited that the grant is moving forward. So it was a real letdown when things were on hold for a while there. So repairing sprinkler systems at the high school fields. Summer cleaning supplies, you'll see that one coming across as quite a bill, but it encompasses all the waxing and gym floor finishing, and then supplies throughout the year as well. And then working on getting my summer crew put together to take care of the buildings over the summer. And I've got signage has arrived for the CCW policies, and we'll get that posted around the buildings as time allows. So.
Great.
Okay, that's it for the regular daily stuff. So where do we want to start on this? The facilities projects for summer and things that are in place now. We're working on wiring upriver for the second door entry. Everything's in place except the button. I took the wrong button up with me over break, and I've got one to replace it with now. So we'll have that in place, and hopefully I'll work on that tomorrow morning. The key boxes are in the process of being delivered for what they call the Knox boxes for fire protection. That will start getting those installed on the buildings in the designated areas where it will be most accessible for the fire department. Let's see, where are we at here?
The blue.
The blue is what we're looking at. Okay. We're going to get another fobbed key entrance for upriver, and we talked about doing one at Hayburn as well. Find a hard time getting things scheduled, but my tech found out today is no longer with Securitas. He has gone out on his own, and I'm in contact with him about getting that in the works.
Okay.
So that's
You hear that, Bridget?
the perimeter fencing at the middle school. There's a section of fence by the rental house where Dr. Wrench is living that is not complete. That will be getting taken care of here in the very near future as well.
Where she sneaks through the fence to go play basketball?
That's where the dogs escape. And yeah, I play a little basketball with the middle
And it
school.
might have something to do with security to our playground too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that thing.
There's, let's see, this is for,
This is like a longevity possibility, but there's a little restructuring of the water that's damaging some of the brickwork by the exterior of the gym. We're just having a hard time finding a masonry person.
yeah, masonry.
it's on our
Masons are a little hard to come by in the area.
There's a local here that has a mason team. I don't know if he's still gonna be around here very much longer. In case you need heads up, I can point him out to you. I'm sure he loves
Perfect.
helping schools, so.
Perfect.
If it's just a small job, I mean, I'd love to point him out to you.
It's, there's some issues, so
Yeah.
I'd love to talk to
There's
the
two
guy.
locals I can tell you that I can, if you talk to me afterwards. And
Perfect.
Yep,
Okay.
we'll line you up. Yep.
Because
Perfect,
the
okay.
history was our other,
Yeah, I was hoping to see
resource.
what McKinstry had for contacts
Sure.
in that respect.
Sure.
They'll be possibly having to do some masonry work around the windows and stuff when they install those.
Okay.
So let's see if we can tie something in with that.
Okay.
and then now we're on page 2.
Page 2 and,
This is, I didn't highlight this, sorry, but the high school secure entrance that Gino talked about.
yeah, Geno's got that designed. We've seen a recent design as far as these entrance to the staff parking lot area at the high school. They're going to enclose and make a vestibule type entry there so people can come in, have a conversation with the office, and then they can either be escorted in or can do their business from that space. So that'll be an enclosed thing there that should happen this summer, hopefully with Well, that's the plans anyways, to get it
Yeah.
done this summer.
And then some of what is in the orange, I'll let Joe talk to, but this was some updates or safety updates after our threat assessment evaluation from the state, Mark Pedersen.
Okay.
So-
Okay.
And some of it's just summer projects.
Yeah, the hardware for the middle school doors, some of those, they're starting to get worn out. They've been here longer than I have, so no doubt they're worn out, so.
The middle school that you said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
middle school doors is about.
The old doors up there are, the door handles, the hardware's just getting worn out. And I've been in discussions, and there again is, the availability and lead time on things is nuts. Even those door, pieces of door hardware, they had 2 in stock, and I'm waiting on the others, and no timeline as far as when we're gonna get them as of yet.
Seems
We'll
like
get them
what's going on with the terrorists. It seems like everything keeps going back a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's to be expected. So.
Yeah, and so, like I say, we've talked about doing some slide bolts up there for lockdowns and that kind of thing. We're still discussing that as far as what we can get by with as far as fire egress and that kind of thing as well. They'd be in for emergency use only, but I don't know how that will go over with we're dealing with fire marshal and then state safety inspector as well. So hopefully get some answers on that soon. The Hayburn Gym, the roof on the entryway there is in need of replacement, so that's just a composition roof. We'll get that replaced and sealed back up again. There's a storage shed at Upriver. We got a little bit of a leak on that. We'll look at taking care of that. The maintenance shop, we're thinking we were about ready to need a roof on that one. I actually had a roofing manufacturer rep come in, and we got up on that roof, and it's in better shape than I thought it was. Not that it's going to last another 20 years, but we might get by another 4 or 5 years with it, is what they determined on that. So it might, at that time, we'll look at going a little deeper on that and doing some replacement and maybe add a little insulation up there as well. So, CTE shop, I've got a outside fire sprinkler system that's in need of antifreeze replacement. So that's what that encompasses there. It's getting down where if we get too much cold weather for any period of time, we could have some freeze and break on that. In the front of the CTE shop now, where last year was it, we dug up the fire sprinkler line there, and I want to see if we can get concrete put back in there for a sidewalk between the gym and the CTE building. We've got a cement pad and stairs out in front of the Hayburn Gym where we added those egress doors. We got the egress doors, but we step out into no man's land there, so we need to get that stuff done, and so we have actual use of that this summer. Hayburn Plumbing, we will continue to go with that. Last year we did one of the restrooms kind of as a exploratory thing to see how that was going to go. It was a challenge, of course, because everything's embedded in concrete and whatnot there, but the local plumber did a good job, and I think we're going to try and continue with that this summer. So it's upgrading the old toilets and stuff are stained, and they look like they're 100 years old, so we're going to try and upgrade that, make things work a little better.
That's one of our priority projects with that HB 521 modernization funds. So we're just chipping away at it.
For
The modernization funding that we got.
no, I
was-
understand for this one, I get it.
Yeah,
For the
that's,
plumbing section.
that was one of
Yeah.
our
Yep.
priority projects.
Okay. That's why you have HB 520.
And then our Upriver Gym windows, they're the ones that are up top on the east-west end of that up there. They've been a leak problem for as long as I've been here. I've been up there every year or twice a year since I've been here dealing with that. One of the things that has happened, we've blocked off most of those windows anyway, because they like to have activities and stuff through the day, and I've even had them up there covering the windows up with tarps and things like that to darken the room. So I don't think we necessarily need those windows. I'd like to eliminate those windows, just side it so that we have no leakage around those windows anymore.
On the upper windows.
Was that?
Above the gym you're talking about?
Yeah, the upper windows,
Upriver.
upriver.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Kind of like the middle school windows that we have in there. Well,
Sure.
you may not even notice that, but from the outside, you see them. From the inside, they're all covered.
Right.
Oh, there
It's
they
so
are.
they can darken things throughout the day.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mhm.
And the bell system at the middle school, the clock bell system has failed. Of course, it's 50-year-old technology. There are no parts for it.
I'll make what I used to, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I wouldn't bet whether the next system will last that long, but
Okay.
I have received a quote from a company to replace some of this stuff. It's, to me, it was a lot. So I'm exploring other avenues with that. They want to replace the communication system in there as well, the intercom system and the clock system. And I don't know, we've already started upgrading intercom system through ATEC to get communication throughout hallways for lockdowns and that kind of thing. I think we can enlarge on that system and not duplicate with the two of them. So I'm looking at another way to go about the clock system that's maybe a little more affordable. But anyway, it's looking to be a very busy summer.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot earlier too. I just wanted to reiterate, Upriver's obviously super important and
Yeah.
they did have problems. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you explaining that.
It
especially.
was water in the airlines, and they say it's been not just this year, I've dealt with it before. When we get cold weather, those air lines run up through the attic. They're just plastic lines. They kind of go up and down, and when there's a low spot and a cold spot, it just stops. And the air compressor was giving me fits up there too. I did find a leak in the system.
Okay.
That cut the run time down on that air compressor considerably.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was really hoping to be rid of that system this year. I was very disappointed that wasn't gonna get done, but I'm still excited that the project is going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the 2 to 3 cameras and the motion light detector, that's what Gina was referencing for the new CTE shop. Did we just put that in there?
Just put it in here. Where's this at?
Right under Windows, right above new bell system.
So that was, Vista had a light that we pay for a monthly fee off some lights around the area to Vista. They come off their main lines and we have lights. The one that Rich was referring to was the one in the middle of the goat trail. With the stairs being there now, there's no longer access to get the Vista's guys up there to maintain that. So I think if we just take one off the end of the new building, it'll light up all that, plus, you know, both ways there, it will get lighted for it, so.
Okay. Awesome.
One other thing, I think
It's on here.
did I mention it to you about
Mhm. It's on here.
the life light,
Oh, no.
the life light signs upriver, because the upriver school is
Oh,
a
correct,
designated
correct.
life light landing
Mhm.
area.
Mhm.
And speaking with some of the people that live up there and have experience of, especially during the summer and off times, they'll find people leaving trailers,
Yes.
campers parking there, whatever. That can't be.
Okay.
Because of the life light situation. And then Upriver Saddle Club's dealing with the same thing too, because we're the Upriver Saddle Club's the alternate
I see.
site for Upriver. So if we can maybe get better signage that.
Is there signage there? I couldn't even tell you that.
I don't
parking
even
is
think
very
that there,
I-
I don't think that it's clear.
Can be court
Yeah.
penal code.
And so
With all the fire department.
clear signing that off-hours parking is prohibited there because of
Do not leave unattended vehicles because of that, and
Because of
that would be
life light.
a good idea, yeah.
Can you ask the
landings
fire
on-
Well,
department?
correct. So
Can
at
you
our
ask the
next,
fire department what they
yes.
have?
At our next
Yeah.
safety meeting,
Okay.
we have
That might be best.
Fernwood
They might have
Fire.
a sign in quote a penal code that this could be,
Mhm.
because if they're blocking something medically,
Yes. No, I've been there when
Seems
we've had
reasonable.
life light in there before, and yeah,
Yeah,
they need the
yeah.
whole space.
Yeah, they need the whole space. So like during school hours and stuff, Upriver Saddle Club is the alternate spot. And we're working on getting signage. I say we were both, I'm both hats, I'm switching
Good.
hats here.
Mhm.
Working on signage to make that clear too, that
Okay.
people don't park or leave anything there also.
Yeah, if I can get the signs, that's no problem putting them up.
We'll work with Fernwood Fire.
Okay.
Yeah, before we, yeah, yes, but
Yeah.
yes, you did
Okay.
bring that up. I thought you were gonna bring up the, we have the Hayburn curtains on there too.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll, at the budget workshops, Danette and I we'll bring these projects back so you can see more itemized timeline with the cost and the bucket of money that we would use. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
You almost held up to Sam Jones, but.
Oh, I wouldn't even come close to holding a candle to that kid.
Yeah, he's got a future.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does. That's a natural gift.
I think White House pressing.
Yeah. I saw some good stuff
Could
there.
be.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Written monthly building department reports. Any questions on those? I know Teresa, you said you wanted to jump in on one of these.
Yeah, I wanna, let Principal Blackwell highlight a few things in the building report, particularly the capacity building results and the playground.
Yeah,
1 minute or less.
one other two that's playground related. So Head Start bought some playground equipment for us last year. They didn't fund the installation of it, but they've installed about 4 of those just in the last couple weeks, and I think there's going to be like 6 to 7 total. So those are getting put in. So next time you visit upriver, you'll see some very low-level playground stuff, not the big playground. And of course, last year, and if you've been to their campus this year, you'll know that Joe huffed and puffed and blew our playground down because it just wasn't standing very strongly. And we don't have a playground anymore. So we've been fundraising this year with PTO's help, student council's help, Ms. Stoll helping with that also. And in what was the hardest secret to keep, there was a donor that wanted to stay anonymous, that wanted to pay off the playground. And so trying to keep that secret because it's not official till it's official, and some very amazing people that care about upriver and our kids did a donation of about 60% of the playoff goal of $48,000. And it's really hard to thank people that want to be anonymous because you really want to thank them. So I'll be sending them the notations of this video on our YouTube link. But yeah, we're super thankful for the people that donated in the name of Joy Johnson Brown is all they want us to share. And so much appreciated them. So now the work begins trying to lock down that playground and get them here and get it installed. And what I'm being told is by the start of next year, we think we can get it there. So there's 8 weeks left in the school season or year, so that will be awesome for our kids next year. And then final, I told you guys earlier this year that we are again being featured in the Idaho Capacity Builders brochure that gets put out to. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you have a copy because I actually forgot to run some of the back pages of that, which really makes upriver look good. But it gets shared with legislators and State Department staff. Really makes upriver look good. And yeah, if you go to the very back,
they have a copy.
Yeah, if you go to the very back pages, it like shows like who's doing awesome in math in the state, and upriver's name is there a couple of places, and yeah, so nice that we're getting featured in the second year in a row of that. So, any questions?
This was middle school's night. Time.
I said we had some other highlights going on, so, you know.
Thank you.
There's upriver. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Principal Blackwell.
Thank you so much, Mr. Blackwell. Any other
Yeah,
questions?
in Hayburn's Witten report, I just want to acknowledge their data tracking and that over 50% of their students, K-12, in both language arts and reading, they're showing, I think I said this, above 50% of their kiddos at or above level.
All right, good job.
And on behalf of Principal Asbury, a couple of highlights on his building report. You've probably seen some of the mentions about the Skills USA competition that our welding class and wood shop people participated in this year. It's quite the competition. And there's a few pictures I actually have. Anyways, wood shop kids were to design like a little mini frame house with a rafter, and he said that's what will separate the boys from the men. So we don't have the final results yet, but he's just super proud of them being able to be in this competition and perform as well as they did, and the skills that they'll take away from that. And the welding had a little fabrication project, so they took a bunch of scraps basically and completed a little fireplace, and they used SM St. Mary's high school So, again, we don't know how they placed, but just to be there and be able to participate with that national competition was worth a highlight and celebration. And then from the North Idaho Hall of Fame was this weekend in Coeur d'Alene. And we had Cody Teff and Mia Asbury awarded the Hagedon High School Character Award. Did I say it wrong? Hagedon? Hagedon. And I'll just explain what that means. It especially recognizes student athletes who have excelled in the classroom and as a teammate. They have had an outstanding work ethic and integrity. They display sportsmanship and true character in all walks of life, an all-round good individual, and also shows civic and community involvement. So that's Mia Asbury and Cody Teff. Yeah.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments on this? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks for sharing the highlights.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Victoria Carson with the rest of your building principals.
Thank you for looking so crazy.
Yep. Awesome.
You do. Yes, you do.
I want to open up the visitors forum. We got Pete Durham. How you doing, Pete? Yeah, it's good, man. It's awesome.
So just a very quick question on the concealed weapons policy. If it does take effect next September, will the district supply a lockbox in each station that somebody comes into whatever building?
I don't understand the question.
We can't.
I
don't think
district.
we can let that out,
We
Pete.
can't answer questions.
School safety and security.
So
And board meeting
that
rules.
question can't be answered?
I think for the safety and security of it, I think the fact that we are wanting them in there should be spoken, because we did put that in there specifically, allowing selling to teachers to put a lock container specifically, whether we can answer to whether or not we're gonna put them, we're gonna supply them. I don't think so.
Okay.
So
but-
for board, open meeting rules, we can get back to him. We're not supposed to engage in
Perfect.
public comment tonight.
So we'll discuss that for sure. Okay?
We'll follow up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I forgot to put my name on that, can I say that?
No.
If you hurry. No problem.
Oh, that's what you were,
Go ahead.
come on.
Yes, ma'am. I know, right? Thank you, Nikki. All right, Ms. Huddleston,
Thank you.
under calendar.
I just wanted to, thank the board and everybody for taking so much time and looking at that calendar and taking staff input and looking at that. I know last year we talked a little bit about that November. I kind of keep going back. I put my teacher hat back on, and there's so much instructional time taken out of November that it is hard to bring our kids in and only have 11 days. So with that said, I understand the idea of like Veterans Day, and the idea of using Veterans Day to honor our veterans, which I'm 100% for. But this year, what I noticed was with not having Veterans Day, our kids didn't get the understanding of what Veterans Day is. I mean, they go home and 90% of the parents are not talking about it. And when they're not there for Veterans Day and then they come back the next day, most teachers aren't going to pull that much instructional time again. Then we end up losing like a day and a half of that. So I just wanted to say, most of the teachers that I've talked to appreciated the kids being in school and being able to celebrate Veterans Day with the kids and really teaching to that. The other thing that I've heard from teachers is that we didn't actually recognize Martin Luther King on MLK Day. So that was the other really drawback that I heard, that all the other schools had recognized, this day that was very critical in our history and, for all American citizens. So
that was another drawback. If we were gonna do Veterans Day, we really should definitely do Martin Luther King Day also. I think that was it.
Okay.
So it was just kind of important.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, moving on to G, Panacea Service Partnership Agreement. Mrs. Wrench. Dr. Wrench, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. The group spoke to us a few times, I believe. And so this is they shared with us a 3-year outline. And then this would be the agreement. Did we put the outline might be in here. So just a couple things to point out. The idea was they would provide us with quite a bit of training over the course of 3 years, and it would build each subsequent year. They would work with our state people and our building principals and our maintenance director, Jill, to assess our buildings and just talk about how we continue to keep our buildings safe. In complement with what we already have, they also were a phone call away for extra intel should there be, they study different situations that might happen throughout the nation, and share that learning with us just on how we continue to be aware and prevent any active shooter situations by being well protected. So the training was a huge component to this 3-year agreement and the expertise that they can bring for us. So with the agreement, the idea is, and some staff and principal feedback was, this is the first time they'll enter in a contract for 3 years with us. So we pay each year. We don't pay all 3 years. We just pay 1 year at a time. And we have the opportunity to assess it at the end of the year and be like, are they meeting our needs? Is this is what we need? Are they complementing the direction we're moving in? Is it everything we've talked about and asked for? And if not, it's just a real simple on page 3 termination. It's cordial. We just put it in writing, and that would end the contract. The nice thing is, which you don't often see, is we do have the opportunity just to pay each year. And the fact that if year 1 is going well, and we anticipate it going well, then they get to know our staff really well, our buildings really well. We get to know them, and it builds each year upon the prior year.
So to help reiterate that, just so everyone's aware, I don't know if you guys remember their presentation, but I got the luxury of speaking with them several times that they, this is their, out of all the trainings that they've done, this is the first time that they've gone for a 3-year contract. But that was pertinent to their previous experience. That 1 year they felt was, although just as important, they knew that more could be done in development with the teachers for the next couple of years.
Right.
So I love it and this idea, and she found a really good spot in understanding, that we are excited to have them. And there's no anticipated bad juju between us and them at all. In fact, the good training, but we want feedback from the teachers and administrators. And more importantly, it also holds them accountable, knowing each year that they need to perform, right? And I think it's a good idea. I like it very much, and I think I'm excited about it.
I can get you a copy of the 3-year outline.
Did you understand that?
By the end of the
Yeah,
month.
I'm just looking at it right here.
Yeah, they've got the basic training, which leads into intermediate, which leads into advanced. They have the parent education nights was a nice component, and they support us in trying to build a parent on patrol program. Yeah.
It encourages parent involvement in security. Yeah.
And the idea is that they complement the work we've already done and continue to work with our staff, our building principals, maintenance, Mark Feddersen, our state people, and our law enforcement in those regular safety meetings. Yeah. And Jody's done a lot of work with several talks with them as well.
Yeah, so I was just gonna state, Lucas and I flew down to Boise April 2nd, flew down there that morning, had a meeting with Misty Swanson, ISBA Executive Director, Morgan, I don't remember her
Sarah.
married name, but it used to be Garcia. But anyway, so we started talking with her, and then here come the Lieutenant Governor in there in the cafeteria. We all met in the Capitol building, and he sat down there and we talked, and he said, I'm all in. And so then he left, and Debbie Critchfield come in, and we chatted, and so trying to get him introduced within the state to get his vision to get in every school in the state of Idaho. I think we are the first school in the state of Idaho to actually sign on with them, is, I guess, a good thing. But anyway, I think we're scheduled to go back down probably again in a couple weeks to talk to more people to try and get them involved in there. But I was very, very pleased chatting with him that whole day, over lunch and stuff. And, that every time I turn around, it's just, there's something else that amazes me about that group. His team is so passionate about that. I mean, they don't need to get paid.
Right.
They have to,
They're all
but
retired.
they're all, drawing six figures from a retirement fund from SWAT or whatever that they were involved in, but I mean, just the military experience that they have and the things that they have been in. And what really sold me on them right off the bat was they've got access to every school shooting and everything that happens in the United States. And it's not so much as picking up a phone call, Lucas, it's each individual guy has got a text message thread through so-and-so, through so-and-so, through so-and-so, through so-and-so, through so-and-so, to be able to share those details that not everybody's privy to. What went right, what went wrong, can we do anything different? Can we do, whatever it is? So and Lucas he says, I just don't want to happen to have another school shooting period. I mean, I just don't want it to happen. And I think his idea of moving forward and trying to train or, bring the awareness to people, the staff, the students, the parents of everything that's out there, I think is huge. I'm so excited, I asked, can I just come in and sit in as a third party? Because I mean, I really do think anymore, it's a person needs to be aware of where you're at, what's going on around you.
Yeah.
I mean, I get involved in things and kind of squirrel and I'm off on other things, not worrying about what's going on. And, you might be in a bad situation, so.
I agree, 100%. I think it's awesome. Yeah.
I think it's a very good move.
I really liked Jody was, I liked when they met originally, they had a teacher, an administrator as part of their group for their counseling.
Mm-hmm.
That previous experience was giving input to this program.
Yeah.
Of course, you had your SWAT director, that was one part. But you had everybody else that was very uniquely organized that I feel like is gonna be super influential.
Oh, yeah.
That reflects on their plan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm excited about it. I was like, it's not just, and I love that they have the military experience, right? But that's, we're not militarized. The best part about it is that they have the experience to be like, this is what we saw. And then we have feedback from people that are on the ground as teachers or paras or anyone else that's there to give that back and be like, this is what we need.
Well, one of the biggest things to me too is to have the parent night. To have the parents know if something happens, this is your job. This is what you need to do.
Right.
Rather than everybody rush to the school to try and get your student. Your students,
Right.
Will be fine. You need to stay here and let us do our job. And so, everybody is, all on, you're gonna probably get some people that aren't gonna do it, but for the most part, people are all gonna be on the same page.
They do also ask for parent involvement they're trying to funnel everybody in an organized manner, so
Yep.
at least things work like clockwork.
Yep.
And because what we all know is in a situation like that, getting off the X and doing something saves lives, right? And that's ultimately what they're trying to do here, so.
Well, it's just
Yeah.
a lot of things that need to take place and be put in place, just like the door locks.
Yeah.
Okay, that one's secure, that one's secured. Oh, this one isn't. Okay, let's clear this room,
Yeah,
type thing.
absolutely.
I think it's money well spent. I hate to say it, I don't like the day and age that we're in, but I mean,
Yeah.
to keep our students and staff safe, it's a good move.
Thank you for your input.
Good preventative.
Any questions, guys? Comments?
Nope. Sounds like a good idea.
All right. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. We move on to H, letter of engagement, professional services with Northwest IT Consultants. This is you, Dr. Lynch.
Yes. This is a current contract that we have in place right now. And so this is just reviewing the contract for the next school year, which would start July 1 for the 2025-26 school year. That sounds so odd to say. So what you'll notice is because we have 2 people, Doug and Paul, on site now, Zach and his services, we've just reduced his services. We still need his services. As you can see, there's a transfer of knowledge that he provides, and also a lot of the security and background. He works mostly virtually, unless we need him. So we dropped his hours. Right now it's 25 hours a month. Next year, we dropped him to 12 hours a month.
Okay.
And same rate, and you'll see the payment terms for the E-rate, which means that comes to about $21,000, which would be reimbursable. And then the non-E-rate services that he provides us, it would be about $10,000. That's a decrease, yeah, that's about half.
Okay.
And of course, we also write, not of course, we also write into the contract, should some security breach or some need come up, you're just a phone call away, and then we just have a cordial conversation about what's that additional work at $90 an hour. And we, both parties agree to that, should there be an additional need. There hasn't been this year. So that's all that, it's just it's a very typical contract, and continue to use the services. We just, with 2 people on campus, have been able to scale back his hours.
Okay. Any questions, comments, discussions, guys?
Okay.
Moving forward to Superintendent report. Dr. Ranch.
All right. It's very brief. I'm going to fast forward here to a couple pictures. These are a few of our seniors from their senior project presentations that took place this past Friday. And last year and this year I got to participate, and it's a culminating event really for the district. And it's just a true highlight and one of my most favorite events. And the reason is because we've set this ambitious vision for all our students. And we've established these 4 goals, which lets us know we're on track for every student to reach our big, bold vision. And we hear throughout the year, you hear from me, you hear from the principals, and we show different hard data points. And those are numbers with kids behind those numbers to let you know, like, all the work we're doing to see our kids progress and achieve. Then we get nights or opportunities like tonight where our kids come forward and they present little sound bites of what they're learning, right? Like tonight was middle school, last month was elementary and the science fair. Before that, we saw little kinder and they showed off their alphabet and sounds and number sense. Next month, we're going to see the high school and some of their trade skills. So then we arrive at the senior projects presentations. And it's just, again, all that data and all those sound bites of all that learning, watching those kids present is like, okay, all of our work with the governing board, the students themselves, staff, leadership, parents, all the work we do around instruction and meetings and policy and interventions and data analysis, it just like comes together, and we see our seniors after a K-12 experience have this knowledge, have this skill, have this responsibility, have this confidence, like little Sam Jones tonight. And it's just a reminder, like, all right, our work is starting to pay off. And our kids are about to leave us, and they're going to be ready. They're going to be ready in the real world. They're going to be those productive, successful citizens that we wanted to see. So neat. So there they are, many, many more seniors. This is just the Skills USA. And yeah. One other, Bobby Pete shared after the senior presentations. I just talked about how fortunate it was enough to see like kinder, elementary, middle, high school. And she said they've gotten to the point now that she watches kids graduate after their senior projects. Now some of those students, as citizens, young adults, are returning to be on the panel. And it's just like, see, they are productive, they are successful, they are paying it forward. Lots of good stuff. Those are the reminders, like, that's why we're here, doing the good work. So some happenings, there's some important dates up there. Any of you are welcome to ask questions or speak to those.
Live in the woods.
Live in the woods.
Oh, man. Updates?
It's
Come
going.
along.
The 17th,
There'll be a highlight Thursday. I just got confirmation it'll happen 11:30.
Oh, nice.
So,
the life fight. So our middle school and high school kids are slated to go on the 17th. And I think we have over 250 kids going, so that's a highlight right there.
yeah, I think 500 total students.
Wow.
And then the
Five-
18th,
Leah, how many different
Sorry.
districts did you say was
Five.
coming? Five different school districts are gonna be visiting?
Awesome.
Yeah.
so the 18th we'll shuttle other students in other school districts. And then at the 18th, there's also, I think for the first time, this Benawha County resource event, where they just want to have different businesses and services kind of show off what all that we have in this county. And so the school district will be there as well, kind of showing off what we do. And say, come here. And then just a couple calendar dates. The 21st is a special board meeting, so we can review the fun and exciting riveting night of policy review and amendment. And then we have the law conference in Boise. I feel like there was one more date I wanted to ask you about. Oh, yeah, that'll be official in the. And then if it's okay, June 9th is our scheduled board meeting. You can think about it, we can ask later. Just, I want to propose, if we're all available, to go the first Monday in June, which would be June 2nd. Would be change our regular board meeting to June 2nd, first Monday of the month, and we're still in school. So think about that, see if you're available. Tana will reach back out to you tomorrow, the next day. And then we'll just post that we have the date change.
So during the Monday after graduation.
Yeah. That's a wrap.
All righty. Awesome. Let's move on to J.
End of report.
Academic coach, consulting teacher, this is special services job description that you were going to show us.
Yes.
Give us an update on.
Yeah, it's, at this point, we wouldn't be filling this position. Again, it would not be a new support unit. We're not gonna fill the position. We're gonna go ahead and hire, we have our full-time psychologist, and we're gonna go ahead and look to hire for a full-time special ed coordinator. So we won't need this position next year, or maybe in the following year. But I thought, since we have the job description, it is nice to go ahead and approve a job description and then have it in our files should the time come that we ever want or need this position. It doesn't delay us then to be like, hey, we gotta have a timeout and go write a job description. So that's what that's there for. It would just be in the file for future reference.
So it's not projected that we'll need one next year.
No, I mean, would I love if we had enough support units from the state to offer this position? Absolutely. Because does it let us accelerate teachers' practice, which then accelerates student learning? Yes. Do we have the allocation next year? No.
Okay.
So I just have a job description, so we have it there for future.
Questions? Discussions? Okay. Wellness Committee membership, Dr. Wrench and Sherry.
Sherry's homesick.
Oh, she is sick. Okay.
Well, back in our audit, one thing we learned, and also in our policy review, another thing we learned is through our nutrition committee policy and our policy wellness policy, we are supposed to have a wellness committee. And because it's considered education advisory committee, the board is to approve such a committee. So this is the makeup of our committee that she will ask you to approve tonight, and we meet at least once a year. And we just review our nutrition, all the policies related to nutrition and wellness.
Okay.
And we take feedback and we bring information to the board.
So this is required then?
Well, it's a good practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? All right, moving on
Highly
to,
advised.
what's that?
Highly advised.
Okay. 2025, 2026 school calendar update.
Okay. You heard a little bit from Nikki Huddleston on, I think that would reference draft 1, 2, and 3, which we looked at last time. Same start time, same end time. Conferences were the same. Our 4 in-service days were the same. So 1 just showed Veterans as a holiday. 1 showed MLK Day as a holiday. Draft 3 shows both as a holiday. And I have a draft 4 to talk about tonight.
Draft 3 shows both as a holiday?
I think so.
I thought draft 4 did.
Draft 4 does as well. But there's also something else
Is
with,
there one with neither?
there is not one with neither. There is one with
I
one or
like-
the other, both.
I'm
That's,
a Nikki idea fan.
that could be one we throw out there. Yeah.
I think there's more beneficial instruction and opportunity with students in school, especially like last year with Veterans Day being on a Monday with the Friday before not having school. It made a lot of sense. But with the November concern of how many days are already being missed in November, and that Veterans Day is on a Tuesday and the prior Friday, I just really see a lot of kids being absent on Monday, where parents just say, let's take a real long break. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we're off, we're gone. But on the academic sense, I agree with what Nikki was proposing, of really having it as an opportunity for appropriate classroom discussion and the appropriate topics, so, you know, English language, social studies, wherever they see that it's a great time to fit it in, or an assembly even. A visitation with veterans, a presentation from our veterans resource building down there. Same thing with Martin Luther King. I've never understood why that was a day off of school. That is not what he stood for. He would be so angry if kids were just off school just doing nothing. He wanted them to educate themselves and to create their best character. And I don't think that reflects the nature of Martin Luther King Jr. My 2 cents.
I'm gonna let people have the discussion on the 3 calendars, and then I'll talk about my idea with draft 4.
You mean right now?
It's I'll do that after you have the cover. It's independent of these holidays or no holidays.
Comments?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Beth. Yeah, having the kids in school on Veterans Day, it is good for them to be in there for that. And have that time to have the veterans come in and stuff versus, having a day off. Where
think
there
that-
is a lot of kids that probably don't ever talk about it because they don't have a veteran in the family, you know?
Well, to me, I think it all falls back down to the history. It's something that they need to be aware of, you know,
Right.
and what, so, you know, I guess I'm kinda game to have them both. That's cool.
Well, those wars are so far away, so far away. I mean, they're just so long ago. I mean, they don't know what 11/11/11 means. War is significant.
Right.
Tie it in. I mean, if we have buy-in from the schools and commitment from the schools to take either an assembly time or to commit to education on the topic of that day, I'd say be in school, and especially in November with
Yeah, or you got
what
the.
November is.
Yeah, you got the, Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, you've got, so many interruptions to the,
What do you think?
That's what they, well, careful.
We can't be
You like
discussing
that?
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
That's something that was being pointed out earlier.
Yeah.
Did you want to say anything on that?
I mean, that was, I think Nikki shared on behalf of principals and some staff when we asked for input, was, have school on Veterans Day to have the opportunity to teach the kids, during the school day. And my first year, we were in school on Veterans Day. So I did get to see quite an extensive education component, I will say that. And we can certainly go back and ask, because this was meant to be one more discussion to see what would come up. So we could certainly go back and talk to the principals and staff about also being in school for MLK Day and use it as an instructional day.
Josh,
You there?
are you there,
Yeah.
buddy?
Oh yeah, I'm just looking through the different calendars.
Sure. Do you have any input on this?
Yeah. We know you were looking at the beach there for a second.
Watching surfers.
You can't see him, so did you have any input on this, bud?
He's looking.
Not really, I mean, just looking at all the calendars, I honestly don't have a whole lot of effort.
Fair.
I do tend to agree with the number of days that are off there in November. Trying to minimize that in one way or another, not being a teacher in the classroom and whether it's more respectful or more impactful to have the kids in class on a day where they can directly instruct them, whether it's Veterans Day or Martin Luther King Day, but we honor it with by not being in school. I think there's probably an element to dedicated to saying, actually dedicating the end of the day to educate the students on Martin Luther King Day or Veterans Day. That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree. I think that it's great to educate the kids, and I think that it definitely should. I do want to recognize the 4,800 veterans here in this county, out of the 9,500 here. And that being originally requested, actually, by veterans that came to both me, I know, and Paul, to have that day off. And so that's why we originally brought it up then. And it's kind of unique in this situation, I think, that it doesn't fall on a Monday or a Friday. So I do like the factor of having it being taught on that day. And we're going to see that 4 days out of the week, normally 4 years, right? 4 days out of the four different years.
Yeah.
Or 3. There'll be 2 years, though, where it falls on a Friday and a Monday. And where I think that's unique, I think that I personally wouldn't change any of it. I think having that day off is great. But I think that if we recognize that by giving that day on that Monday, whether or not, or that Friday, whether or not what the day falls on, it still gives the respect to those that are populous in our county to being able to be recognized, but also being taught 3 out of the 4 years that we'd have between the leap year. I think that's a very unique idea. I totally support Martin Luther King Day being civil rights personally. I absolutely think that's a wonderful thing that we should always recognize, and it should be taught whether we have that day off or not, period. It recognizes civil rights. The difference between the two that I always lean on, right, because Martin Luther King is specifically about civil rights. It's always misconstrued as a racial recognition day. It's not. It's about civil rights. And that's what needs to be uniquely recognized, I think, more than anything else. Veterans Day is all races because we all wore green and we all bled red. And so that is so important, I know, to me as a veteran, that we recognize Veterans Day, whether or not we have a day off. I like that because we, like I said, we have a populous population. We have a very populous amount of veterans here. So that's my 2 cents. But I like the factor of being able to recognize the days that it is in school, that we teach it, no matter what. Like, that needs to be a mandate. That's my personal.
It is.
It is mandated.
It's in statute.
Good.
It is.
Good.
Okay.
Any other discussions about it? Okay, what's your plan, what's your report?
So, let's pretend at this point, we have school on Veterans Day and we have school on MLK. I had mentioned some staff input about September 2nd due to Paul Bunyan and the fair, and I had mentioned some input about October 10th, opening hunting day, being holidays. But at the same time, we didn't want to take off anywhere else, and we wanted to be out the first week of June, and we wanted to start the same time in August. So, my proposal is, we need to find 6-hour chunks of time for this the Panacea training, the safety training. So I worked up this calendar to have September 2nd and October 10th be non-student days, but teachers come to school either for class time preparation or for this safety training. So half on September 2nd would get class time, the other half would get the classroom preparation time at the start of school year. The other half would get the safety training. Then on October 10th, flip that. The other half of the staff would have classroom preparation time, and we can include some parent meetings, staff collaboration. And the other half that didn't have the safety training would get the safety training for their 6-hour day. And we still have enough instructional minutes for our kiddos.
On this calendar that you proposed here, though, it shows both those days off.
They wouldn't be off.
Inclusive.
They would be non-student days. Staff would be attending. It'd be like an in-service day.
Oh, I see it. So it would be not for students, but for staff.
Correct.
But this is also, so we'll have enough time to do that even with, on this calendar showing Veterans Day and Martin Luther King Day
In
off?
school. Either way, in school or off.
Okay.
Yep.
So this just shows them as both off as well,
Correct,
too. So I'm
correct.
trying to understand. So we
Yeah.
still have enough minutes for all
Yes,
that?
yes. And it
then
shows
if we
down.
then if we put MLK and Veterans Day back in.
You're back to your same instructional minutes.
Okay.
Just balanced out.
Okay.
And the teachers still have their 187 contract days. Just looks a little
Okay.
different.
Okay.
So food for thought.
Yep.
And then we'll bring a couple options back May to approve.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we're going on to M, 2025-2026 proposed budget workshop dates.
Yes.
April 13th.
And now
May
you want me to throw those
14th.
out?
Yeah.
Yeah, April 13th, May 14th, and possibly, if we need a third, depending on how well the
Excuse me.
board,
April 23rd,
yep, April 23rd.
Did I say
not
that one?
13th.
Just want to see if we're all listening at 8:25.
Yeah.
April 23rd, May 14th, and then if we needed another one, we still have time that following week, that Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, May 19th, 20th, or 21st. Should we need another meeting, we still have time for another meeting and hit the state timeline of when we have to submit the budget.
Okay.
Okay, so April
23rd.
23rd.
Mm-hmm. We usually go at 5:30. And then May 14th.
At 5:30.
Mm-hmm. You will run a couple hours. And then we have the following week, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if we would need one, we'd still be able to make our budget timeline.
At the end of April?
No, it would be May 19th,
May
or
19th.
20th, or 21st, should we need a third.
20 doesn't work for me.
Okay.
Um,
We may not need one at all.
okay, 19 and 21.
Okay.
So the 23rd is a meeting, and then was there another one in there that I missed? May 14th.
Two budget
Um,
walk. work
ouch.
sessions.
I won't be able to make the April 23rd.
I may or may
Maybe a
not
good one.
make the 14th.
We'll talk a lot about support units. So we'll catch you up.
It'd be virtual.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't be bad, because we would have slides that you could be looking at. You could hear. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You could have some questions.
Of April.
I'll send these dates out in the Friday board letter too.
I can't confirm any of that until I get in front of the calendar. I don't have a calendar in front of me till my wife's there, so.
You got any dots over there, Jody?
No, they're all
Free.
open
Okay.
right now.
We're gonna fill them up. You're gonna have a dot tomorrow.
Well, better hurry up.
All right, any questions? We all good on those, clear on those dates? Okay. Moving on to number 9, board policy number 5900, concealed carry firearms on school property.
Can we take a 3-minute break?
Yeah, good idea.
Let's take 3-minute recess. I'm okay with that, yeah. Very good.
I might have to plug my computer in.
What's that?
I might need to plug my computer in.
There you go.
Pull up.
I need to do it too. I know I've got it right here. Oh, it's not here.
Book manual too.
I did, I didn't see any attachments to it.
There won't be.
I know, it's right here, yeah. I'm saying it's right
It'll be
here.
a separate policy.
Yeah, so,
I don't go in meeting, I go to, yeah, there won't be an attachment. Just, you go out of meeting and go to policies.
okay, in policies. go
Okay.
look and browse.
Board manual 2.
Yep, drop that down, yep. Yep, that, 2.
There we go. Wow, that's what
And
you're
then,
saying.
yeah, I know, we're in assembly, but it's like, it's higher assembly.
It'll take me 4 years just to learn that.
You get it.
It's not a draft, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, not the one that says adopted, it's a draft.
Yeah, that's where we'll talk about, that's where the changes are.
Sorry.
No, you should have seen me and Tana today, we had a lot. We went backwards about 10 steps. I can't find it. Well, you logged in? Nope.
Okay. You good? You guys got it up? Let's reconvene. Awesome. Okay. All right.
Okay. So, I'm gonna talk about, agenda item M and N kinda at the same time. I'm sorry, N and O at the same time. 5,900. And the application. Okay.
Yep.
So 5,900, it's been amended and approved. We bring that back because there's some language that needed to mirror the application language.
Great.
Okay. So now I'm going to jump to the application so we can see those changes.
Okay.
And then we'll go back and see how the language is mirrored in the CCW policy. And I believe it's in red so we could see it pretty clearly. Okay, so in the application, just we're checking for accuracy from our last meeting. I'm going to come back to number 2 about do we want the carrier to be employed at St. Mary's for 1 year, 2 years, no years. Then I'm scroll down. The big change or addition was number 4, the tactical training. So we added C, the 40 hours of one-time training. Listed a couple examples. It's not an exhaustive list, but we listed a couple examples of how we could get that 40 hours of training. And then the continued ECCW is there, and the continued 8 hours of training is there. On page, maybe it's on page 2. Under each additional year, we listed some of the possible examples where that would be showing where a person would be exempt because they've exceeded or have the equivalent of that one-time 40 hours of training. Those were the main additions to the application.
So is that saying that with 40 hours of training, we're waiving an annual
No.
training?
No.
That's just for your
We're
initial.
We're
For
saying,
initial.
Correct.
we're saying there could be some people that come forward, and those
That
are some of the examples.
Don't need to do that initial 40 hours of training.
'Cause they've already got-
Already had military experience or
Right.
post-academy.
Yeah, they've got
So
equivalent
just-
or more than.
It highlights their defensive mindset training that they've had an experience with.
Correct.
Everybody will still need to have their ECCW,
Correct.
and everybody will still get 8 hours or more of training every year.
Every year.
Mhm.
Subsequent. Okay.
Yep. So then if you go to, I'll take you back now.
Do you want to address the 2 before we go back?
Let me go back here because I didn't put it in 2. So now we'll go back to 5,900 CCW policy, and you'll see that language about the training and the exemption mirrored on page 2, maybe it's page 2, under training.
Okay.
It's the same language, 40 hours of training. It does say refer to 5,900, the application. That's a safeguard.
Mhm.
Go look at the actual training requirements and training exemptions.
Okay, me too. Okay.
And then it just adds, while a person would have their ECCW on file in a separate file from the personnel, it just also states there would be a copy of the 40 hours of training in their file, separate from their personnel
And
file.
we were just keeping documentation of everything
Yeah.
they're doing. Awesome.
That's it.
Well written.
Yep. So that's where the language in the 2 policies match. So if that's accurate, then the only other part was the discussion on number 2, the preliminary review process, and would a carrier need to be employed for X number of years before they could apply?
So I wanted to jump into that just because the last 2 people that had that discussion was not understanding was me and Beth. So Beth, I wanted to address you and just say, after clarity, right, and discussion
Mhm.
of what that means, I think that we both were trying to say the same thing, but we actually weren't. It was late. I can contest that I was like, what are you saying? I didn't understand it. Now that, if you wouldn't mind openly clarifying the specifications of what you were trying to say for those 2 years, so that that's being said openly.
Just, I don't think that it's a good idea to have a brand new person coming into the district and, because of all the elements that are involved, psychologically, it's been brought up by staff and by community members. And when I started to think about it more and more, knowing somebody and knowing somebody are two different things, if you know what I mean. It takes time to get to know somebody. Their character, when things happen, how they react. I'm not even sure that 2 years is enough, but it's, I don't think it's a prudent idea to have a brand new employee
That's never been a carrier.
that has never been a carrier
That's
to
part I
come in and, but just
Yeah.
somebody that we don't know.
And I think where I misunderstood you, because I want to state that is that I felt like, and I think we kind of found common ground, I felt like someone that check marks is the box below, where they were, all these previous experience that would exempt them, would show their stature. Where I was misunderstanding you was the factor of, it's a piece of, someone that's brand new that nobody knows, that's never carried before, we need to create as an issue. And that's where I step against and I say, you're absolutely right, and I completely.
They're a little bit separate. I still, even if someone has military or law enforcement and they're completely new to our district, there's still that component. That is a totally separate component to this topic.
Okay.
And it has been brought up as an issue of concern by staff and by community members.
Sure.
And myself, once I started thinking about it, I was, yeah, that's really relevant, because it's relevant in other areas of my life that I take seriously. And and in other areas of life that I've trained for, and other positions that I've held, have emphasized the importance of knowing someone. It's a completely separate element, and it's very important.
So someone's criminal history, or not, lack thereof, their experience in being positioned where they're under more stress with self-defense training and mental awareness isn't enough for you. You're saying for you to feel comfortable with this, you would rather have them also being viewed by staff members first, when the whole idea with this is for nobody to know who's carrying.
No, I'm not saying that people weigh in.
That's what I'm misunderstanding, because I totally see your side, and I actually,
But in
I
those
totally would
2
agree.
years, if something is up with someone,
Mhm.
those things get brought up by administrative review with someone new. I mean, their contract is treated differently in their first year. They're treated differently in their first year.
Wouldn't we probably see that within 6 months on their first review?
No.
You think it would matter for 2 years versus, so basically they need to be a seasoned employee is what you're trying to say.
They need to not be a rookie, and I think that a staff member is pretty much a rookie for the first 2 years.
What if they came from a different school with previous experience and with recommendations? And, right, they check mark all these boxes. This is where I disagree 100% on that.
That's where you set policy. We have policy. Otherwise, we would have subjective policy with everything else that we do. But we don't. We're not subjective in everything.
Right.
We have in our world, in our district, we have a public policy. We have a policy that we all abide by, not a subjective policy.
And that's where I kind of, that's where I split ways, is I go, I think, and that's just because my experience being in both avenues, where people would check mark those boxes. I've worked with those people, and I can vouch for people that have that much stress and experience, that would have recommendations, that would be hired by our school, that I trust the admin. I feel like their resume alone that would get them with our kids, that alone, whether or not there's anything else involved that we would recognize as a defense
It
mechanism.
is, however, I've been around, I've been with the district since 2000. I was a substitute teacher, and I've been involved peripherally and inside, and seeing how things actually work, which is a unique position as a board member, having actually had some time in the system. There have been instances of teachers that were hired with great hope of that it would be just fine, that they'd work out and just great, and 2 years later they were gone. And there were issues that no one knew anything about. It's just the way, this is the nature of the beast. It's just it's humanity, and that's why we have policy and procedure.
Josh had some thoughts last time. I don't know where he's at this time.
Josh?
On terms of.
Move his button. I'm
In terms of
just
this
looking
topic.
right now and thinking, I see it both ways. I mean, there's validity in the way that, I mean, the policy is written, and I think there's some checks and balances already built in there. At the same time, the staff knowing each other and building that level of trust, but at the same time, the intent of this is confidential. And regardless of who it is, you know, if a new person comes in, the confidentiality piece of it is that the coworkers would not know who's carrying, who's not, right? And so there's a part of that where the concern is actually invalid. There really shouldn't be any concern there, or I'm not saying that there shouldn't be concern, but if the confidential piece of this policy is being followed, nobody's gonna know anyway.
That's
The,
not
the
the
building,
issue.
the building principal would.
That's, the building principal would, but that's not, and I wouldn't want them to ever know. And quite honestly, that would be part of it too, if somebody's, you know, chatting about how they can't wait until the day that they wanna, you know, apply for that ability, well, then that washes them out right there. But no, they're separate. It's a separate component.
And
We
I
have
see
all
your
many
way.
different elements to it.
Right. I don't
This
see,
is
I
one
see them
that's
as one and the same
completely-
though, in my personal opinion. That's where we just split. is
It's
that
completely
I get what,
separate.
I know it's a comfort thing.
No,
I don't look at it as a reality of like.
Oh, I
fact.
don't see it as comfort
You
at
think
all.
th-
There's not feelings here. This is like psychology. This is a scientific thing that I'm basing this on, and that there's an important element to it. This isn't touchy-feely, oh, ooh.
No, I mean it like, as in, you know, there's a difference between whether you're comfortable with somebody that's already had the experience, that have been dealing with the situation, and we're saying previous teachers that previously could have been involved in education for years, and once was a cop, if they check mark these boxes, aren't okay, but it's okay for the comfort of, and I understand you're thinking it's psychological comfort of getting established. And I say they're two different things when it comes to the experience of having developed a defensive mindset and where that comes in and appreciating that.
I do, but
And-
unless
Right, but
the
not being
district
vetted, because there's no
knows that.
difference. To me, do you know what I'm saying? This is where I disagree. I absolutely would trust and
I think
comfort
we're gonna
somebody.
have to agree to disagree here.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's fine. I could
Because
understand
we're going around the
something.
mulberry bush.
Well, I could understand the factor of being like, okay, for new people, like that's where I was agreeing with you when we originally talked about it. I didn't see it, and I was like, Okay, I totally see. Somebody brand new, never taught before in their entire life, right? They come here and they're like, hey, I wanna be part of this. I believe in this policy. I think I'd be a good candidate for it. Nobody with any experience in teaching, don't check mark the boxes from before, should be under scrutiny. Someone should have years of establishment with experience if they've never developed a defensive mindset and they're new to teaching. It's too overwhelming for both of that. I absolutely agree with that. I can side with you and say, I would be running for that, but I don't, and the factor of the 2 years of saying, 2 years for
So
them to get comfortable with.
you would
saying-
agree
New
with
carrier.
it if it had
As a new
more
carrier.
of a definition to it.
Yeah, if it's specified new carriers.
Which it does right now.
Yep, as it says, new carriers in the position that are new, like as in, and I would even more so want that to be defined, saying that are not exempt from, as it lists below, which would be the boxes that say that they have experience enough that we would
Well, if
trust.
they're a new character,
Right.
then they don't
I-
have 40 years of experience.
I just would
Yeah.
want that
Yeah,
elaborate.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. Yep.
So if that was the case, that's where I would say, okay, I
Be
can find
super
common ground
explicit.
there. But if not, I totally would agree to disagree, and I appreciate your opinion, I do 100%. I see where you're coming from, and I value that, especially as a teacher.
Can I throw one other thing out there? I mean, there's agree to disagree, and maybe there's another solution, maybe there's not. If you look at a couple of the other school districts, Mountain View and what's the other one that we looked at? Grandview
Dietrich.
and Bruno Vista.
Yeah.
They do a psychology test, and it's just a simple online test that not teachers, a candidate takes as part of the preliminary steps. And you get results right away from this online.
It's still different.
Okay. Just throwing it out there.
Yep, so my opinion, if they check one of the 4 boxes of being experienced military, law enforcement, completed academy, 5 years of carrying a firearm with at least 1 year of ECCW. I feel that if they've been a teacher for a few years, they come to our district, I think they would be fine.
Or if they're not a
Yeah.
teacher, I feel like if they came here as
A new
because some of that's
carrier.
not just teachers.
Right, or.
We can't
yeah.
specify that if it's like
Right.
someone that's taking up
A new
another
carrier.
position, right?
It's
A new
That
carrier.
does
still
not-
a different component. It's a different component to that experience. It's being known in the district. It's being seasoned in the district. Knowing our district, knowing for the
district.
carrier to know our district.
Well, just
For
look
the
at the new
district to
SRO that
know
we
that-
have.
We don't know her.
Don't know her, she's
She's gonna be
brand
around
new.
us all the time with a firearm. We have no idea. She has very little experience, but she has experience enough to be trained. And it's been trusted and backgrounded. And with that, we're gonna be okay with that. And she's young, right? So all
Okay,
we can
these are
trust this.
volunteers, she's a paid professional.
These are paid professionals.
Yeah, they would get paid from the
They are, but
district.
this
She
position
was
is
actually
a
worked over at
volunteer.
Wallace and.
No, I know,
So,
it doesn't say she has no experience. I'm just saying, we're talking about so many years of experience. Plus, we also want to have that they've worked here for so long. That'd be like saying, well, you need to work in our district in custodial or, no offense, Joe, or something like that, but saying, something where she would be known in our
Well, this
district.
isn't just for teachers.
No, I know that. I'm saying it's no
Well,
different
bus
for us to
drivers
say for an
qualify for
SRO.
this Too, I mean, it's anybody,
Right.
You're talking about experience in the school district.
I'm saying for us to say, well, she's an SRO, but we need to require her to work with us so we know her better before we allow her around our kids. You know what I'm saying? That's where I contradict and I go, I don't agree with that. I think that this is enough.
Well, because that is her one focus. That is her one focus. She is different. That position is a different position. That position is there for one reason and one reason only. And she has been vetted by LEO, and she's been trained by them, and this has been going on for 6 months with her before she's ever even entered
Yeah, they'll be
our
on.
school.
Yeah,
She's
the
not
academy and
in,
that's the other
that's a
thing.
completely different position from what I do, totally different.
I disagree, but I appreciate it very much. That's okay.
I see where you're coming from, I
Right.
do,
Right.
and.
That's fine, and
Yeah,
I
we're
just agree to
gonna have
disagree.
agree to
We'll have to put it to a
disagree
vote,
on that one.
not a big deal, not a big deal. Okay. Any more discussions on this policy? Because I love the way the policy rides besides this. Josh?
Okay.
Okay. And so that's also completing the second reading for the policy about the application as well. So that would be O, second reading for board
Tonight-
policy 5900.
Tonight, we would take action on both.
Can you move to take action?
Tonight, you will,
Yes.
down here.
Yeah, okay. Awesome.
So what is it we're taking action on?
We'd have to take a motion for it.
The way it's written.
On the way it's written,
Unless
which
somebody
is what you have
offers an
included
amendment.
With the 2 years of experience, right? That's the way it's written right now.
Right, unless somebody offers an amendment to it, yeah.
Right. Okay.
I think when we get to the action item, Tana will pass out what it would look like as a final version
Okay.
to either vote on, make an amendment, vote on.
Okay.
You know what to do.
Okay.
Not approve it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna excuse
Yes, sir.
myself
Okay.
here, so.
It's getting late. We appreciate it very much, Jody.
Yeah, well, thank you.
He's gonna be up at 2.
Yep.
He's gonna be at your site by 2.
Well, I'm
And-
good for it.
That means you're gonna be up earlier. Have a good nap.
All right. We'll step on with P, board request to admin board development. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Any
Night,
requests?
Jody.
Josh, requests
Happy belated birthday.
for anything we're wanting?
Got it on the,
You got it
got on the
there.
recording.
Happy birthday!
It's your birthday.
Anybody?
Paul, I didn't
Do
forget, I
P,
know
I'm just
to,
moving on because
I'm
time
gonna,
is
I'm gonna
giving
be
the
getting
essence.
input
So
on a
where
4-day
are we?
week
We're on
for
P,
next year.
board request to administration
Yeah.
and board
That'd be great.
development. I just
Yep.
want to make sure I give you guys the table to be able to bring something up if you want something looked for, discussed, researched, if you have questions about that. Anybody?
Going once, going twice.
I'm gonna say, I really appreciate the work you're already doing, and you have a lot on your plate, and I really appreciate the fact that that's the case, because as you taking on that load, we put more on every week. So we really appreciate that. I know Beth and I especially, and Josh.
Oh, thank you.
And
That is
Paul
something
do.
we can completely.
Yeah, absolutely. We so
Good,
appreciate
good
it.
work.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
so,
Thank you.
Yep, thank you very much. Are you good, Josh?
Yeah, I'm good.
Alrighty. So let's move on to action items. Let's start with, we're all ready? Are we all, you hear me, Josh? All right. Start with action items on A, review and consider a motion to set the 2025-2026 budget hearing date. Can I specify, is that
Yes.
the budget workshop
Yes.
date? Okay.
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay, I
sorry.
didn't understand what that
Yep,
was.
yep, yep.
Okay.
have to notify the counties by April 30th what the dates will be, and it's normally at our June meeting.
So June
Okay.
2nd.
If we're looking at different dates for our June meeting.
It
then
would be,
Oh.
well, ideally, it would be June 2nd.
So is that gonna be
Can we all,
something that
Yeah.
can we all
I'm-
meet June 2nd?
I'm fine with
That would be our regular board meeting and our budget hearing.
On June 2nd.
I'm gonna be there at the regular board meeting, so I'm
Yeah.
okay with that, yep.
Josh, you good?
June 2nd.
Good.
All right, so I need a motion.
So I make a motion that we have our 2025-26 budget hearing date of June 2nd.
Any discussion on that? Motion for the second, then.
Second.
One from Beth. All in favor saying aye? Aye.
Aye.
Review and consider motion to approve Panacea Service Partnership Agreement.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Paul, second one from Beth. All in favor saying aye?
Aye.
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 I need to review and consider a letter of engagement professionals, a letter of engagement professional services with Northwest IT Consultants.
So moved.
Got a motion from Beth. I'll second that. Can I do that? I'll second that.
Did we review that last month?
No, this is the
No,
first
that was this month.
It's the IT security support.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I'm good, yep.
all in favor saying aye?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Review and consider motion to appoint an alternate for 2025-2026 negotiating team. This is something that we needed to do last time and we didn't do, as we've already appointed the people that are gonna be there. I would like to make a motion in that to appoint, he's already in there, as an alternate. Beth is an alternate
Alternate to him?
It's an
Or
either one.
of
Or
us.
either one.
Oh, to either
We
one
need
if
one
you
alternate,
can't
and
do
we
either.
value you so much, I would really appreciate your input on
Sure.
that, so. Is that an acceptance?
Yes.
All right, I need a second for that too.
I'll second Beth will be the alternate.
Awesome.
Let's see the hurrah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All in favor saying aye?
Hey, I'm doing the
Aye.
wellness.
Aye.
Me too.
All right. Need to review and consider a motion to approve St. Mary's High School emergency school closure for March 24th, 2025 due to facility failure.
That was the power outage day.
That was power outage,
I'll
yeah.
move.
Yeah.
Second.
Got one from the second from Beth. All in favor and saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. Need to review and consider a motion to approve the 7-day students, approve the 7 students to compete at the BPA National Leadership Conference in Orlando, Florida on May 7th through the 11th, 2025. I would make that motion. That's awesome.
Second.
We got a second from Beth. All in favor saying aye?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Need to review and consider a motion to approve the Special Education Coordinator Director job description specifically.
Well, let me just review this really quickly. In G, so we currently have a special ed coordinator director position, and we're posting to fill that position. We just made a couple minor revisions, if you will. The title, so it used to say special ed coordinator / behavior coach. Now we just have it reading special ed coordinator director position. So we changed the title. And number 12, in terms of roles and responsibilities, it had said the director is to develop the budget. Danette pretty much develops the budget, so we added assist in developing the budget. So those are the 2 revisions. That's it. And since we're posting for the position, we thought it was appropriate to review and update the job description.
So moved.
Second.
Got one from the first, then we got one from the second from Paul. Any discussions? All in favor saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I need to review and consider a motion to approve the academic coach consulting teacher for special services job description.
And this is just so we have the job
That's,
description?
yes.
Not
Yes.
putting out the
Correct.
position yet?
It's not anticipated, especially because we don't have the units right now. We can do
Correct.
that.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got one from the second from Beth. All in favor saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. Need to review and motion carries. I need to review and consider a motion to approve wellness committee membership.
I'll move.
I got one move from,
I'm on it. I shouldn't second it.
I got one move from Paul. I'll second that. Any discussions? All right, all in favor saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. Did you want to say to that? Did you say aye?
I did.
You vote
Okay, I
on
didn't
it.
hear, I'm sorry.
Why
I'm
not?
on it, so.
Okay.
Why not vote
All
for it?
right, Beth, you ready? I need to review and consider a motion to approve the board policy number 5900 as it is written.
Is it in here?
And it shows in here.
I
We
think
wanna
she's
show me
gonna
that
pass
one?
out the final.
Shouldn't it go the other way around?
It's gonna, well,
Well, we
we're
don't
gonna
have that
discuss it, make
part
a motion
in the
right now.
we don't have that part in the,
Don't we need to pass the application before we pass the revision of the?
well, we don't really need to because that part in question isn't on there, on the 5900 policy.
Yep.
You can
So
though.
she's saying- so
You
I'm gonna-
can,
with
you
that-
can. That makes sense.
did you wanna review the
Application first.
application first? So let me
It just
retract
seems-
what I
Yeah,
said.
that makes sense.
That's fine, I'll flip
Makes
around. Let
sense.
me track what I said. I'm gonna start with, let's review and consider a motion to approve board policy
Yeah,
number 5900E1, consider carry of firearms on school property application. Is that
Can I
better?
see that really quickly?
Yes, ma'am.
Or the other one?
Which one?
The
The policy?
While you're working on that. Thank you.
Well, Beth, you can make a motion too. I'm gonna make the motion, what I would recommend, which is remove the part where it says the 2-year training. The 2 years of working with, is that on here? Let me make sure it's on here first. Where is it at?
It's number 2,
Number 2.
under preliminary review process,
No.
bullet
Under,
3.
it's the third bullet point down.
Correct me if, and I think we can both make a motion and someone can second one of those motions, is that correct? Or is it the one motion's
You would just-
made?
You would make a motion and she
Okay,
would make a
one make
different
motion.
one.
And she would either second or not second it,
Right,
and someone
or
else
make
would
a
have the
different
option.
Well,
My
somebody,
motion,
if it gets a second, then it moves forward to a vote.
okay.
Right, but somebody else could make a different motion.
My motion is to remove where it says a new carrier would be employed at St. Mary's School District, number 41 for 2 years. That's my motion,
To have that in there?
to remove it.
To not have new carrier in
Yep.
there? Okay.
Oh, excuse me.
It says new carrier.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What you did want added, and I don't want to put words into your mouth.
No, please, because you're right. And I'm
You
sorry. That's what I
mentioned-
meant to, and I apologize, because that's I would like to actually, I agree with that. I would like it to say,
That would compromise
new-
between the two of us.
right.
You wanted it to say new carrier and emphasize a new carrier that does not meet any of those.
Criteria below.
Yeah, the exemption list.
Or the new carrier that is also a new to teaching.
But if left
That needs to be
away,
said.
New, not in teaching, because it could be.
Or new
No.
to.
New employee.
okay.
New to the
New
district.
employee, okay. That's the equal medium. I'm
Well,
sorry,
I
thank you
think-
for the correction.
all
'cause
right,
I-
I'm confused.
A new carrier and a new employee would need to be employed with St. Mary's School District number 41 for 2 years before they could apply.
A new carrier
And a new
and
employee.
a new employee.
Yes.
Well, yeah, an employee would have, yeah, it would have to be a new employee.
Correct.
Yeah, new employee, that's a new carrier.
And a new
Because I
carrier.
want them to be individually specified. I'm wanting them to be together. You're wanting those
But you're
separate
not
issues.
including, you're not exempting them if they have any of those other criteria.
Oh,
That
I'm
is
sorry.
the purpose.
It wouldn't be a new carrier then.
Yeah, it wouldn't
They
be a
would
new
not be
carrier.
a new carrier.
Oh, it's.
It would
or.
specify that they wouldn't be a new
And.
carrier in that manner. If they hit this criteria
Oh,
below,
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
break it down for me.
It's
so I
or,
understand.
not and.
Yeah.
You're wanting or, she's
I
wanting
want and.
Yes, she wants and.
Yours is or.
My motion is for saying one or. Yeah, yeah. Excuse me. A
New
new
carrier.
carrier
Or a new employee.
or a new employee. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to reread this to make sure that's saying, sounds right.
Also new to the district, it needs to be employee.
Well, you
Yes.
said that, so a new carrier or a new employee, yeah, would need to be employed.
That would be where I'm
For
trying to
2
find the
years.
equal medium.
Before they
Does
can.
that sound right?
Yeah.
No, but
No,
it just,
when it
it's
says
still,
a new
it's,
employee would still have to be 2 years.
Yeah, it would be a new year or, yeah, that's right.
no,
be
So-
you're
employed.
and or,
So hold on, he's right.
I'm
So if I were
and
to
you're
say,
or.
if I were to say
And
a new carrier,
Or,
I'm actually want to say a new carrier, that is a new employee. That's what I'm trying to say. A new carrier, that is a new employee. That's where I'm specifying that they're both, right? Because ultimately, that's where that matters most.
No, and I'm saying.
And you're
any-
saying opposite.
Any new employee.
Right. So let me
Right.
I'm making a motion for a
Okay.
new carrier,
That.
that is a new employee, at St.
Would
Mary's
need
School,
to
Joint
be-
School District. Yep, yep, would need to be, yeah, for 2 years. Yep.
And I make them, is this where I can make an
Mhm.
alternate of
Mhm.
motion?
Well, I will second Seth's motion.
Okay.
My motion is,
well, wait, hold on.
Right, if he seconded, that goes.
So now you're gonna go to vote first.
oh,
So we'll go to vote on this. All in favor of saying aye. Let's do a roll call on this, so this is heard. Is that okay? Can I do that? All right. Seth says aye. Paul.
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Beth?
nay,
Okay. Okay.
in the past.
Mm, mo-
So I don't get to make my motion.
No, we're gonna vote it out. Motion carries. Okay. Moving to, is that gonna consider, no, sorry, we just did the application. So let's, so what would that amend? And,
There is no amendment.
Well-
because that's already reflected in the same in the lettering then?
Well, the amendment was
That's
gonna
not an
be,
amendment, but the amendment is the 40 hours. in the-
that's not an amendment, that's just an add, it's in there now to the policy you're about to approve. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
there's-
5,900.
Yeah.
There was something.
You're updating the amendment. It's
We're
already,
Right, we're updating it with the
With this in,
40 hours
correct.
Right.
training.
correct,
Okay,
correct.
okay,
correct,
so I'm gonna go move up to J then.
Correct, the way it's now written.
Then I'm gonna review and consider a
Correct.
motion to approve board policy number 5900. Now,
Mhm.
what are we making that motion, to amend or to keep? That's what I'm asking.
You're amending the new as it's written now,
Okay, you wanna make that motion?
as it's written today,
Or do you wanna make the motion?
with the training, with the
Or
additional.
Josh?
I was just looking at, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Seconded by Beth. All in favor saying aye? Aye.
You wanna do roll call,
we
since you
run
did
a
roll call?
We can do a
on
roll
the-
call,
Since
yeah.
you did one on the
Let's
last
do a roll
one.
call. Beth?
Aye.
Seth, aye.
Aye.
Paul? Josh?
What?
You gotta say it.
We couldn't even lip
He's-
read you. You have the bar over your mouth.
Oh, yeah, I know, we can't see.
All right,
You
guys.
can't see, you couldn't even lip read them.
We need to review and consider a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Beth got it, I'll second.
Seconded by Paul. All in favor saying aye?
Aye. Nice one.
Makes everybody
Loud.
Real good.